I'm Michael Wallace. Fallout from last month's Los Angeles area wildfires. Mayor Karen Bass has dismissed Fire Chief Kristen Crowley.
We all know that 1,000 firefighters that could have been on duty on the morning the fires broke were instead sent home on Chief Crowley's watch. These actions required her removal.
The mayor says Crowley also refused to file an after-action report on the fires. Crowley claims city budget cuts hampered her department. This just in, a judge appointed by President Trump has rejected a request by the American Foreign Service Association to stop the administration's dismantling of USAID. The judge found the association did not meet the irreparable harm they needed to show to get injunctive relief. That clears the way for the administration to pull thousands of USAID staffers off the job. The administration is expected to cut jobs at the Defense Department next. Liz Alvarado of Kansas City is one of thousands of IRS workers being let go.
I wish it would have been handled a lot better than it was. I wish they would have looked at performance and not just the date I started.
Kansas City is home to thousands of federal workers. The mayor is urging them to stay in public service. The Justice Department is pushing for more leniency for January 6th defendants who are facing other charges. CBS's Scott McFarland tells us about one case.
Newly appointed U.S. Attorney in Ocala, Florida, has just asked the court to dismiss Daniel Ball's gun case, too, making the argument, or at least the illusion, that it's somewhat connected to January 6th.
Now I can say hello X, hello people on X, hello people on YouTube and Facebook. We are here at Hammond Field, Lee County, Lee Health. What are we calling this dang place? Lee Health Sports Complex. Yes. I don't know, man. They're not good. I'm not getting any sponsorship money. Why do I have to say it right? Fair question. It's a fair question. If the Lee Health people want to send a little money my way, I'll work a little harder to get it right. You know what I mean? We've got CBS News happening right now. Local news is going to come up in about 30 seconds. There's a leaf blower that is hell-bent on making sure that this show sounds ridiculous.
In the dugout.
Just absolutely ridiculous. So we'll have all of that. If you're watching on X, just hit reply, say hello, give me a like. I don't know. Take part in the show. We appreciate it. Lots of viewers on the X machine, so we love it if you comment and chime in. I'll put the phone number up too. If you ever want to call or text, you can do that. And here comes local news. We'll be back in a minute.
Original parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Now from Minnesota's radio station, let's get you caught up with Minnesota's latest headlines and biggest stories on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Mostly cloudy, 25 degrees at 3:03. I'm Laura Oakes. 2 more suspects are now charged with murder in upstate New York in the tortured killing of a transgender Minnesota man. 29-year-old Kimberly Sosha and 21-year-old Thomas Eves joined 5 others charged in the killing of 24-year-old Sam Nordquist earlier this month. Authorities say he was tortured for weeks by multiple people before he died, his body discarded in a field. Investigators say there is no evidence of a hate crime, and all involved identify as LGBTQ+. Accused United Healthcare CEO killer Luigi Mangione appearing in a New York City courtroom this afternoon for a status hearing. Dozens of young supporters packing the courthouse and the sidewalk outside. Attorney Ricky Kleeman.
It's significant to see Luigi Mangione at any point in time because of the enormous public interest in this case and this fan base, this cult base that has developed around him.
Mangione is accused of ambushing and fatally shooting Brian Thompson on a Manhattan sidewalk in early December. He was caught 5 days later in Pennsylvania. Recent staffing cuts at the Federal Mental Health Services Administration could impact 988 crisis call centers nationwide and here in Minnesota.
About a quarter of the team has been lost over the last month, with specific cuts for workers overseeing the hotline. Locally, Minnesota's National Alliance on Mental Illness Executive Director Sue Abderholden says there's a specific threat to specialized crisis lines like those for Spanish language speakers.
Calls will still be answered in Minnesota by our call centers, but we want to just kind of forewarn people that if they're looking for the Veterans Lifeline, the LGBTQ Lifeline, or the Spanish Lifeline, that there might be problems with those calls being answered.
These federal cuts follow a handful made from the Department of Veteran Affairs crisis line. Taylor Rivera, News Talk 830, WCCO.
Quite the drama at the girls' state high school hockey tourney about an hour ago.
The day's first Class A semifinal matchup between Orono and Warroad was one for the ages. After finishing regulation tied at 1, the game wasn't decided until Warriors freshman Lindsay Lawrenson scored in the opening minutes of the third overtime to give Warroad a 2-1 win and a chance to defend their title against either Dodge County or Holy Angels. And as you can imagine, Lawrenson was mobbed by her teammates after the game-winning goal.
That's WCCO's Ari Bergeron. Well, if today's sunshine has you dreaming of golf greens, this is your weekend. The Minneapolis Golf Show is underway at the Convention Center, where Mike Luger's having a little fun this afternoon.
There to win the pontoon, putt a ball for, 100 feet or something, and you get in the hole and you qualify. Then you got to come back Sunday. Yeah, I'm not going to win it. Who knows?
Oh, you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
Terry Simpson is on the grounds crew at Shamrock Golf Course in Corcoran and is waiting for a call to come back to work.
They're talking everything's going to melt here next week with these 40-degree weather. But no, I'd love it if it opened up in a couple of weeks. I'm ready to go back to work and get back in the golf scene.
The Minneapolis Golf Show has given golfers a head start for more than 30 years. It runs all weekend at the Convention Center in Minneapolis. WCCO News Time is 3:06.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
694 eastbound as you make way toward 252. Got an accident working off to the left side. Expect the slowdowns in both directions through the stretch. Eastbound 394 congested 100 into Minneapolis. Over on the east side, you're going to find things running smoothly for East 94 right out of downtown St. Paul into Wisconsin. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
The face of Minnesota veterans is changing. For the centennial year celebration, DAV of Minnesota invites you to join the ongoing effort to fulfill promises made to the men and women who served our great state and nation. Donate today at davmn.org.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Brought to you by DAV of Minnesota. Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
What a great combination. It's the weekend and we're warming up. Partly cloudy tomorrow with a high of 32 degrees, even warmer on Sunday with a high near 40. Now the average is 31 and it looks like we should stay above average for the rest of February with a few chances of rain because it will be so mild.
Mostly cloudy right now, 25 at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Your home for Minnesota news, views, and some good old Midwest common sense. News Talk 830 WCCO. Buckle up. Time for the ride home and the chance to get caught up on the day's news, plus whatever else he wants to riff on. This is Drive Time with DeRusha.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
And here's the star of the show and your host, Jason DeRusha.
Are you ready? All right.
Now live on your radio and streaming to the world at WCCOradio.com and the Odyssey app. Here's Jason DeRusha.
Well, for one more time, we are live at Lee Health Sports Complex right here in Fort Myers, Florida, looking out on Hammond Field as the final lawn stripes are being rolled out, the clippings blown onto the infield, getting ready for spring training baseball to start right here in Fort Myers, Florida tomorrow. Tomorrow midday, we'll have the first game, and I can't wait for baseball. It's Jason DeRusha, Drive Time with DeRusha. In effect, Dan is here. We are streaming live on YouTube at the WCCO radio channel. We're on Facebook as well, and you can follow me at DeRushaJ on X, and we are streaming there as well. So wherever you want to get Drive Time with DeRusha, we're here for you. So we're trying to get our show out on as many different platforms as we can. Let's start today with one of the most fraudulent discussion points that I have been seeing over the last week. And this is about the Delta pilots of that flight from Minneapolis that landed in Toronto and flipped over. Do you care who the pilots are? And if you care, take 2 minutes and think about why. Because I have a theory about it. Delta is not sharing the names of the two pilots who were working for Delta's subsidiary Endeavor Air based in Minneapolis. Delta's not sharing their names. Which, of course, if you wear a tinfoil hat, put it on, because this is putting up major red flags, right? Why is Delta not telling us? Why is Delta not telling us?
What do they have to hide?
I'll tell you why Delta's not telling us, and it's because the amateur detectives of the internet have taken over the conversation about any accident, any incident. And be honest, you want to know the name of those pilots, just like you want to know the name of a suspect, because you want to find out, is it a woman? Is it a name that sounds like a minority? And can I scream about DEI? I feel like I need to hit the Dave Harrigan, Chad Hartman, am I wrong sounder here, because you know I'm right. It is an absolutely irritating, ridiculous game that is going on right now, because people are more interested in being right, in proving a political point, than they are in actually finding out what caused this, what happened. The people who are mad at Delta for not sharing the identities of the pilot are only mad because they want to freak out about it. Do you need to know the name of the pilot? Do you? Now, eventually the name's going to come out, right? It's probably going to be in court filing. Already today, the first lawsuit was filed by one of the passengers on the flight, which, by the way, kudos to that attorney.
Right?
Well done. This is
very efficient.
From Monday afternoon, the first lawsuit was filed on Thursday night. I mean, you know, if you're that attorney, you see a lot of dollar signs when you're taking your cut of the action, right? But Delta, instead of releasing the names, which normally they release the name, they just say, oh, here is the pilot, this many years service, whatever. In this case, Delta is releasing a small amount of information. What I would argue is enough information. The captain was hired in 2007. So you can do the math and you can say, all right, 2007, it's 2025. Like that's a decent amount of experience, right? It's 17, 18 years, depending. But was hired in October, so 17 years. He is a he. So check that off if you're going to spaz about DEI and women who aren't being qualified. And then the first officer. Oh, well, now you are getting we are going to give you a chance. Her flight experience exceeded the minimum requirements set by federal regulation. She passed all of her check rides. There were no red flags about her pilot skills. Delta said that claims spreading online alleging the captain and first officer had failed training events were false. We have crossed a line of absolute lunacy with people on social media, that the dialogue and the conversation is so bad that a corporation like Delta has to say, like, we got to protect our people. You are putting your own people in harm's way by simply releasing their names, because people are so hell-bent on being right in making a political point. They don't care about the people. They don't care about the pilot. They don't care about the first officer. They don't even care about the people who are on this plane. You care about being right. It's disgusting. 651-461-9226. Texters saying, Jason, it's just like when you pass somebody on the road that makes you mad and you have to look at them. Why do you need to validate who they are to be upset? It is true. And I was talking about this with my wife the other day as one of my pet peeves is when you get in this very long, slow delay on the highway because everybody has to slow down to look at a crash. And I think there are some people who just like to see a crash, I guess. But I think there are other people who want to see who's behind the wheel. Is it somebody that I can validate my preconceived bias, thereby proving like why I was right to be biased. I'm not racist. I'm just looking out for the most qualifications. I'm not sexist. I just want to make sure we have the highest trained people as give me a break. It's just fraudulent. I think it's absolutely fraudulent.
You're just dying to be able to say something like typical.
Right?
That's what you're looking for.
Yes. Now, one texter says, I always look to see if I know them. I mean, it is a small town.
Fair.
The Twin Cities is very small. I think that's valid. I just am challenging this idea that there's some big conspiracy, that there's some, Delta isn't giving this information because this person failed some stuff and got to keep her job because she's a she. Or God forbid, it's some last name like Gonzalez, or some last name that makes you, maybe it would be like a Islamic or Muslim sounding name. Oh, we have lost our minds to a certain degree that we're so, and not everyone, our listeners, I think, are largely normal. Other than you listen to this show, which is highly questionable. But I really think in this case, if I were Delta, no chance in hell that I'm releasing the name of the pilot or the first officer. Absolutely no way.
Well, certainly not now.
Not now. It's too hot.
Yeah, well, but I mean, if there's an investigation and the result of that investigation is that there was pilot error involved here, then you have to release the name.
Well,
of the
it'll
pilot.
be in some federal documents, right?
Sure.
It will be in federal documents. Eventually, it'll be out there. But the company, I think, has no obligation to share that information. And my larger point is that the reason that people want this information is BS. The reason you want it isn't because you care about anything about this. The reason you want it is because you're so obsessed with being right. Jason, the plane is on the ground and everyone walked away. The crew did well, a good landing. Well, I don't know. I don't know in this case. I do think
not everyone walked away.
Look, I'm no aviation expert. I don't know. But something went wrong here, right? That plane either descended too quickly, causing that kind of very rough, hard impact, which led to the fire, which led to the flipping and all of that. Now, the fact stands that I still, and Dan and I disagree on this, but I wouldn't mind being on the plane, right?
No, it's ludicrous.
This is a wonderful story. You survived a plane crash and you're going to cash in. Like, I think that's pretty good. It's traumatic, probably traumatic.
You think maybe?
$30,000 initially, no strings attached.
Pays for a lot of therapy.
It pays for a lot of therapy.
Okay.
And then international law requires payments of up to $200,000 and more available depending on if negligence is involved. So there's some money to be had here. The bottom line is I do think when people get all indignant about wanting to know that information, I'm saying Delta is doing the right. Normally, I'm like sunlight. Share information, let the truth get out there. But I would be worried for the safety of these pilots. One texter saying already that my daughter is a female pilot for Delta and says female pilots in general are already taking heat. Yeah, I think that's right. We're going to break. We are live at Minnesota Twins spring training. We're just, how many hours away, Dan? We're like 12 plus 9.
I'm just watching you do the math.
21 hours away from first pitch. I don't know. Suppose that was not a useful piece of math. Tomorrow, we're a day away from the first pitch, the first game of spring training. We'll talk with Dustin Morse. Big shot at the Twins about how the team is using social media, communications to try to get the fans back in the ballpark. That's coming up here on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha, live from Twins Spring Training. Presented by the Islands and Beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel and the Luminary Hotel and Company and sunny Fort Myers.
Hey, it's Jason DeRusha here with a message for you as you get ready for your weekend, thinking about what you're going to have for dinner. Please include Minnesota pork in your calculus. If you go to mnpork.com, and I'm going there right now, They have an amazing collection of recipes. So if you're looking, the weekend is a good time to do something sort of slow, right? Really get in the kitchen, cook, do something fun. Slow roasted pork shoulder, that sure would be nice. Pulled pork sandwiches, have those ready to rock tomorrow. Or maybe tacos. Oh, so many different options, so many different flavor profiles. And if you go on the website to Pork 101 and then click on all pork recipes, they have recipes organized by the way you cook, which I think is so smart. So maybe you want to do something slow cooking. You click on that. Boom. Maybe a stew. Maybe a soup is in order. But if you're on the go and looking for a quick dinner, they've got that for you too with air fryer and baking pork. The bottom line is that Minnesota Pork is made up of 3,000 family farmers all over this state. They are laser focused on taking care of their animals, taking care of the environment, delivering you safe, lean, high protein meat. Get in on it. Get to the grocery store and the butcher shop, and let's have Minnesota Pork for dinner tonight. Oh, yeah.
I'm Karen Heinz with Baird Private Wealth Management. At Baird, investing and financial planning are just part of the solution. Just as important is our personal commitment to your success. Meeting with you, answering your questions, working with your tax and legal advisors so you can see your complete financial picture come together. Focused on you, no matter what. That's how Baird's been doing business for more than 100 years. Discover the Baird difference. Visit BairdTwinCities.com.
Imagine placing an investment or trade without fear. Knowing that big institutions have taken the same trade as you, pushing the price higher, which only they can do. You get to ride the wave of institutional demand. If not, your plan will protect you from the downside. This is how our students are taught to invest in trade. Right now, you can sign up for a free investing class where we'll outline our strategy for following the smart money. Text investing to 210-210. We'll also review strategies for growing a retirement portfolio, how professionals profit when stocks are falling, and how to protect your investments against inflation. With a 25-year history, local classrooms, and one-on-one support, you're not alone. And now it's your turn. Sign up for a free investing class today. Text investing to 210-210 or go to learnwithota.com.
Happy birthday to us. 2 surprises for you. 2 surprises from NordVPN. 2 surprises for you.
Celebrate twice as much with NordVPN. We have a special birthday deal. Get 72% off and a coupon for up to 1 year free. NordVPN is rated as excellent on PC Mag. Visit NordVPN.com and discover one of the most advanced VPNs in the world. What are the benefits? Secure up to 10 devices with a single account. Receive alerts if your email address leaks to the dark web. Reduce the risk of phishing, scams, and malware with NordVPN's Threat Protection Pro tool. Encrypt your online traffic and browse with more peace of mind. Get the special birthday deal at NordVPN.com. Additional terms apply. NordVPN. Cybersecurity built for every day.
Drive Time with DeRusha is live from Twins Spring Training, presented by the Islands and Beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel and the Luminary Hotel and Company in sunny Fort Myers.
Lots of response here coming in about this topic, whether Delta has an obligation to share the names of the pilot and the captain of this flight. It is interesting how many people are praising Delta for saving the passengers' lives. One texter, if I were Delta, I would charge people suing them for saving their life. I think $2 million would be a good charge to save your suing life.
To save them from the
crash they caused.
They caused?
Really? This ain't Captain Sully, right? Like, this is not the Miracle on the Hudson. So, and I do understand from, seeing the documentary and the story of the Miracle on the Hudson that a lot of those passengers were bad-mouthing Sully too. So I understand that. But in this case, like, I'm not holding a parade for Delta for their pilot and their co-pilot crashing the plane. Now maybe there was a mechanical failure, right? But those are pretty much the options. Some sort of mechanical failure or some sort of human error. And I would guess that Delta, with the data they have, the black box being found, the fact that like people survived and could tell what happened, I'm guessing that Delta has a pretty good idea as to what caused this thing. Not 100% certain. They shouldn't be releasing that kind of information until an investigation is done. But you're going to tell me they don't have a good idea based on all the information? We have actual video, very clear video from on the tarmac in Toronto of this thing happening. So, like, it's not a super duper mystery to put this together. That said, I don't think you get credit for saving.
No.
If I cut someone off in traffic and crash in their car and their car rolls and then I go help them, I don't think anybody's claiming
You're not getting a medal.
What a good job by DeRusha in that one. Let's go to Jeff. He's on the CCO Talk and Text line. Jeff, happy Friday. You're on the air.
Jason, thank you. Happy Friday.
Thank you.
So I'm responding to how I thought you said you were interested in the input of people on social media.
Yes.
Those are where I was trying to be right. Am I on the right track here?
Yes.
Okay. I'm 72 years old, so you know where I am with social media. I was about middle-aged when I came up.
Right.
And I never once had a bit of interest in it. Now, I understand how sometimes folks in your profession think you need to be engaged with it. But personally, I never felt like interjecting my opinion electronically to whoever, nor did I ever really give a rat's ass about anyone else's. And, then of course it's well known that there's distortions, lies, etc.
Right.
And this is exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So my point is, I just really, if people want to do social media, good for you. That's Second Amendment right, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But what a bunch of B as in B, S as in S. And I think we're just turning out another generation, even another generation of stupid people who are not able to think for themselves. They just want to follow the crowd, follow a chain, argue, and get absolutely nowhere.
Yeah. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate that. I do think that part of what has happened is a sense of curiosity has been replaced by a sense of self-righteousness. And so always people, look, all of us want to be right. I host a talk show. I say what I think. Like, I would prefer to be right than to be wrong. We all want to be right. But the desire to be right, the desire to have the dunk and the gotcha, I think has overwhelmed the desire to be curious about things. And that's sort of my broader issue on this particular topic. Now, Lowell on Facebook is asking, why does the media seem so intent on wanting everything or blaming everyone? And maybe I get Lowell, I'd love if you would clarify a little more. Do you mean as far as the cause of the plane crash, or as far as, is this directed to me making the case that it is the self-righteousness that people generally, and I base this on my experience on social media, that in general, and the social media has crossed over into the real world, right? So it's not just online chatter. It's that everyone, then you'll be out to dinner and someone's like, oh, I heard the pilot on that flight was DEI. Ooh. Failed a test. Failed a test recently. You're like, well, no, the people don't really care. I don't think. They just want to be right. They want to be right. We're all guilty of it. We're all guilty of it. We all have those moments. I have those moments, right? Where you have a preconceived bias and then you're like, yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
You have the bias and you go looking for confirmation.
You go looking for
confirmation.
confirmation.
I'll do it for sure.
That's right. Father of a Delta female pilot here. According to her, someone leaked the first officer's full name and address, and there are DEI rumors being pushed already. These pilots are all extremely well trained and take their responsibilities extremely seriously. I mean, I was a reporter for a long time. Like, I'm a professionally, I'm skeptical, but I also think, I think that texter is exactly right. You don't become a pilot at Delta through some sort of charity program, right? That's just not how it works. Jason, why must it be mechanical or human error? The weather was really bad at the time of the crash. Have you ever heard of downdrafts? I will say, yes, I have ever heard of that. Yes. I will say that the weather reports that I've read about the time of the crash, and of course, this will be part of the investigation, but the reports I've read was that there was no, yes, it was windy, but at the time of the landing, that was not a factor. Now, we'll see, right? Like, there are tons of, yes, it could be weather, but these planes are constructed to handle that kind of stuff, right? Like, they just are. And so that is where I am right now, but of course, open to new information as we find out. We're going to break. We are going to come back. Let's talk some Twins baseball. In the Twin Cities, you're already the weather is in the normal zone now. Like, I can barely rub it in that it's 72 degrees here in Fort Myers. Let's talk about Twins baseball. Look ahead to the season with the Vice President of Communications and Content, Dustin Morse, joining us next here on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha, live from Twins Spring Training, presented by the Islands and Beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel, and the Luminary Hotel and Company in sunny Fort Myers. Thought-provoking.
My problem is with a society where we need to lock up toiletries.
At the end of a game, you shake the opposing team's hand.
Compelling.
This district-wide policy for cell phones, I just wonder how parents are going to handle it. They're the ones texting the kid during the school day.
Kids eating for free at school makes sense.
Challenging.
You know what's not effective? Having kids steal cars and then releasing them the next day.
Intriguing.
Stores drug check potential employees, but any loser can use self-checkout.
News Talk 830 WCCO.
Many listeners have asked me what CBD products I use, and I am so happy to be able to share them with you on the radio. Jordana Green here. I really want to destigmatize CBD and reveal compelling health benefits that I've experienced. I use Mini-Leaf. Check out minileaf.com, MINNELEAF.com. I use these products. I would not recommend them to you if I didn't. Mark has used them. We have both experienced the benefits from the Triple Diamond Pain Cream. It's such relief. And also those Sleep Night gummies, the best night's sleep I have had in a while. No pharmaceuticals needed. Check out the true benefits of CBD. You can see they're 100% natural Mini-Leaf's products, and you can look at the studies on the website. Minileaf.com. MINNELEAF. Tell them Jordana sent you.
Mini-Leaf means quality. Taste happy at minileaf.com.
The home of Minnesota's best legal products.
Although Barbra Streisand and Frank Sinatra never shared the stage, their musical legacies come together in Barbra and Frank, the concert that never was, starring Sharon Owens and Sebastian Anzaldo. This can't-miss tribute features sensational performances of the powerhouse vocalist's biggest hits, captivating duets, and witty banter. See what could have been become reality at Treasure Island Resort and Casino on Friday, February 28th. Get your tickets at TICasino.com.
You know, we've all gotten unsolicited cash offers for our homes. I get it. It can make moving less stressful. But if you go that route, there's a good chance you'll be leaving money on the table. Hey, it's Vanita. If you're thinking of selling and don't want the stress, call my buddy, the good neighbor agent, John Schuster of the John Schuster Group Coldwell Banker Realty. Corinne just worked with John to sell a loved one's home. She wanted the convenience and she got it. John helped her. His marketing system helped get multiple offers for Corinne's home. All the attention led to her home selling for $30,000 over the asking, $75,000 more than that below market investor cash offer she originally got. Contact John for full details, 952-222-9000, online, johnschustergroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll
get you moving. JohnSchusterGroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
Ever feel like there aren't enough hours in the day? If you get busy or miss your favorite show, don't worry. With Rewind, available exclusively on the free Odyssey app, you can stream your favorite shows on demand. You know your day is better with us. Get the news that matters to you from the local voices you trust. No matter what you're up to, give it a try. To get started, download the free Odyssey app and search for your station. That's AUDACY.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Crash working south 169 just beyond 394. It looks like this is a secondary one for the area. The activity off to the right side, you're slowing as you come down from Highway 55. 394 eastbound to 94 westbound. Stalled vehicle, emergency vehicles on the scene to get things cleared out. In the meantime, things tight for 394 eastbound as you come in from 100. Trey Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
With a well-designed will, trust, and estate plan, you can have peace of mind. Choose Matt Gutman of Gutman Law to give yourself peace of mind. Call him now, 612-895-1616 at gutmanlaw.com. Gutman Law, peace of mind today for tomorrow.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
All right, let's do some weather. What do you say? Chris Schaefer is finally in a good mood because it's not below zero. Here's his forecast, Chris.
This weekend is going to feel fantastic. Our highs have been below average for almost 3 consecutive weeks. That should come to an end tomorrow. Partly cloudy with a high of 32, up to 40 on Sunday. We should have highs in the low 40s Monday and Tuesday. In fact, we should stay above average for the rest of February.
All right, it is a little bit windy. The wind gusts up to 25 miles an hour in Maple Grove right now. It is 27 on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha, live from Twins Spring Training, presented by the Islands and Beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel, and the Luminary Hotel and Company in sunny Fort Myers.
Hour one of Drive Time with DeRusha on a Friday. It is sunny in the Twin Cities. It is sunny here in Fort Myers, Florida. We are live at the Lee Health Sports Complex, home of Hammond Field. Can't wait for the first pitch tomorrow afternoon. Dustin Morse is the Senior Vice President of Communications and Public Affairs. You got a little promotion this in the offseason, Dustin.
Well, yeah, all of our roles are evolving a little bit with Dave St. Peter announcing he's moving on. So trying to fill in the holes a little bit and help where I can, taking on some new duties.
You've been with the Twins for how long?
This is season 20.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think back to that like you were just a child when you started here?
You want to know my career with the Twins started. I finished with the Padres on a Friday, started with the Twins on a Monday. I went to Minnesota, grabbed a computer, filled out some paperwork, and flew down to Fort Myers. And it was about this time.
Yeah.
There's actually in about 6 days would be the day, my first day with the Twins.
The actual 20th anniversary.
And the first guy that I was introduced to was Torrey Hunter here at the same clubhouse that he'd been hanging out in for a week. And Torrey put his arm around me and said, well, let's introduce you to some of the guys. And that was my first day on the job. And he set me up for success. And it's been hard to believe, but 20 years ago.
You telling that story does remind me a little bit of sort of the vibe that we've had this week, but this is our third year being down here. And I've been around a lot of different sports teams, and, every team has staff members who are awesome. And we're just talking about Ryan Tanke, who's over at the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I think the front office over there has a lot of just awesome people. And you see this throughout the different teams. But there is something different, and I'm curious for your thoughts as to why there is something different about the way that the players act, the way the staff acts. Like, it's just a very sort of different family welcoming vibe around the Minnesota Twins.
I think you nailed it. I mean, that's one of the top reasons I love working here. And when I came to the Twins, I was one of the few that actually worked for some other teams, so I can compare it to
because a lot of people have been here for life.
Yeah,
right?
You start here and you finish here. But when I came in, it felt like a family feel. I mean, I think the Pole lads led the way with just how to treat others, how to act in the community, how to represent the organization, and then guys like Terry Ryan and Dave St. Peter kind of show you the way when you're in your younger years. You watch how they handle their business, how they interact with staff members, media members, the community, the players, and you just want to do that. You want to be that. So that's how I was taught. And I continue to try to carry that forward. And, as a PR executive, you try to help, just about everywhere you can. You can't always come up with the perfect solution for every request, but hopefully, that if we can't do plan A, we'll try to find a plan B and work together, because we recognize you guys have jobs and we have jobs, and together, I think it's a lot better content and storytelling for our fans if we figure out a way to work together.
Dustin Morse is our guest. We are streaming live on YouTube and Facebook and on X, which just reminds me, as your role heading up the communications department, which has all these different sort of areas under it now, but how much the way baseball and the way the Twins sort of tell their story has changed over your 20 years.
Well, before when I started, we didn't have social media.
Right.
I mean, it's a huge tool today, both for marketing and PR and just ways to get your messages and your content out it's endless. I mean,
your team is so clever. Like, some of the videos and things they've done this week are so good.
Spring training is a gold mine for that. As you've seen, guys are in good moods. They're here early. They stay late. It's a fun, I call it adult spring break, but it's just a great time to get the best out of these guys. We've got so many different stations this week. I mean, this week you guys saw it firsthand, but for the fans that don't, the last 6-7 days have been, 20 of our staff members gathering, green screen work, LED boards, social media stations. We're doing the Diamond, our behind the scenes look at everything that we do in camp. We have Twins TV is here. We're producing our own content this year for television purposes. So we're running every guy through. They've got to get fitted for their uniforms.
So this is just to sort of paint a picture. There's a sort of a like media dining room that gets transformed into an unbelievable production studio. And all the stuff you see on those scoreboards throughout the season. Now, certainly sometimes there are trades and players who come in and you shoot stuff with them at that time. But most of the stuff is being produced in the lower level here in Fort Myers, Florida, in a dining room that's been transformed.
It's not pretty. The space is limited, but we make the most of it. And all of our guys, 57 players ran through all these different stations to produce scoreboard content,
like the joke questions where they're like, name 5 of this, all of that stuff.
Yeah, everything from that to PSAs to, we just talked about Ryan Sankey and the Wolves and some messages to them or the links. You knock out a lot of content this week, but it takes, like I said, 20 people, 6 straight days of pushing, and we have great players to work with, and you get a lot of fun blooper reels too. There's a lot of screw ups. There's a lot of take 2s, take 3, but
who's the sneaky best at this sort of stuff? Like, are there a player or two where you're like, oh, this guy lights it up?
Well, I mean, Carlos Correa always rises to the occasion. He's kind of a one take guy, but he's a professional. He's good. Simeon Woods Richardson. For me, he's really well spoken. He's clever. He's willing to participate in just about anything we throw at him.
He was my sort of shocker at Twins Fest, where when we interviewed, it was like, oh man, this guy's a star, like absolute star power. He just lights it up.
You kind of pick up on those guys, and you put him to work. Ryan Jeffers was that for me a couple years ago, and Jeffers he's a good guy.
And Jeffers in the clubhouse, like when you're there and when we're there at 7 or 8 in the morning, he's like hyping everybody up and just like, you need those kind of players, right?
Yeah, I'd say
it's great for you in communication.
Yeah, you gravitate towards those guys for sure. But it's also my job to recognize not everybody's a spotlight guy. Not everybody likes the camera in their face or to do interviews or talk about themselves. So you try to find ways to incorporate those guys. Maybe it's in a quiet corner in the side of the clubhouse instead of in front of everybody. But yeah, I give a little speech early in camp about what our job is communications professionals and content storytellers, and guys will come up to me after and kind of talk about how they want to be involved or maybe how they don't want to be involved. So, and I got to respect that.
Do you guys provide training for players, like to understand, the players see this stuff on Instagram or TikTok or social media or X or whatever. Do they get training like, hey, like maybe don't light up and don't torch people?
In a sense, that's my job. That's what I kind of work throughout spring to work more with the younger guys. But the one thing I'm realizing is, for us, I mean, our age, we were introduced to social media maybe, in our later in life. A lot of these younger players, some of them are 19, 20, 21 years. They've grown up with this.
They don't
They're
need
pretty
the training.
savvy.
They get it. Yeah.
I mean, we were kind of joking about
Yeah.
the editing skills and what to do and what not to do. These guys, it's second nature to them. They're really equipped to tell their own stories, and they all have agencies that help them with some training and social media teams that assist with producing content. But our team
sometimes you wonder, you're like, all right after a game, how did this picture get posted on this player's Instagram account? It's pretty, I mean, the way that works is coordination with you guys and with these sort of social media agencies that end up working through the agent or whatever.
Yeah, and it's
pretty slick.
There's an app called Greenfly that every player, if they want, they can have an account, and then MLB, along with the Twins or whatever team you play for, just load personal content into these apps, and then they can pull it down. So
that's
you'll
amazing.
see guys, some guys are more aggressive with it than others, and some will ask for specific, Byron's a guy that likes to talk about his teammates or photos with him and his teammates, and he likes to promote them. So you just try to give these guys the tools to connect with fans.
All right. I think a lot of fans, as we talk with Dustin Morse, the Senior Vice President of Communications and Public Affairs, obviously people are curious about the ownership situation. Are you prepared right now to announce who the new owner of the Minnesota Twins will be?
Yeah, you'd think.
Why not? Why not now?
You think the public affairs guy would know, but
come on, you're the last guy to know. Give me a break.
I would say, listen, it's business as usual with the Twins right now. I mean, the Pohlad family announced the exploration of a sale, and so we're respecting that. There's a group called Allen and Company that's handling all the details. I mean, I don't even handle the media relations side of it. It's nice that way, right? We focus on what we're supposed to be doing is our jobs. Yeah. And when there's news, we'll be told the news and then we'll share the news. But as of right now, it's status quo. The Pohlads were down here. I mean, you saw Joe and his boys were here enjoying, watching some of the players, getting to know some of the new guys and maybe shaking some fly balls. So yeah,
it was fun to see the Pohlad kids, like the younger kids, because they also know, like, what the family's exploring a sale. This might be the last go, and seeing some of the kids in the locker room, in the clubhouse, getting autographs and stuff. I don't know. To me, that was really a special and sort of tender moment where you remember, like, odds are, if you look at the other sports teams in town, the trend of having a hometown solo owner of a professional sports team, that's just not how things are really done anymore.
You're right. And Joe Pohlad came down, and the reason he comes down is he throws a team party and he invites every player, every staff member and their spouses and their kids. And we go over and take over one of these
mini golf.
Yes, it was mini golf, ping pong. And
how'd you golf?
My daughter came, she was down here and she beat me. She's getting older and she's getting better. So
how much does that hurt?
I was humbled a little bit because I had some guys watching and she trailed a hole in one. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. You weren't even looking at the hole.
Right.
But yeah, it's a fun night that the Pohlads host, and, Joe mingles with all the players and thanks them for everything that they do and have done and will do. So it's a family feel for sure. And spring training is a great time for that bonding opportunity. And I don't know if Rocco's let on any of his little tricks that he likes to do with the guys, some egg toss and some other team building exercises throughout camp, but it's usually a pretty fun time, and you build some relationships that hopefully carry on into October and maybe even November.
Dustin Morse with us. You do a lot of interacting with the community now, especially. You've been very busy this week here in Lee County, visiting and giving proclamations and getting all of that sort of stuff. Obviously the relationship with the community, with nonprofits, with the government back in the Twin Cities is important for the future of Target Field and all of that. As you look ahead, do you have like a big priority for you, a number one thing that you're really trying to work on?
I think with the front office transition, my job is to help support Derek Falvey as best as I can. Some of the institutional knowledge over the last 20 years, I'm trying to formulate how I can help best impact this organization, carry this organization.
Here are the
to
players,
the
here are the people you need to meet, this sort of stuff. For Derek.
Right. And just, what are his blind spots, and continue to learn from Dave St. Peter, who is 35 years with the organization. I'd be stupid not to continue to ask questions, and he's going to be around as an advisor. And, a lot of those public affairs, where we show up in the community, how we show up, what we get involved in, and our connection with, at the Capitol and how we fit into Hennepin County and just the downtown scene. I know it's a very important piece for a lot of businesses. I mean, we have 81 home games and a lot of people come down to experience Target Field, but also the other businesses around Target Field.
Huge.
So
It's
we
huge.
feel
Yeah.
it's our
Nothing-
responsibility to be a part of this community.
There is nothing bigger for the success of downtown Minneapolis in the summer than having a good ball club. If you get people coming to Target Field, that just straight up changes the energy of downtown for months. It's not a 2-month season. This is summer plus. It's a big deal.
Yeah,
so don't suck out there.
Yeah,
we need some wins.
It is a long season. It's one that you want to this year. I think start out hot. I think this team on paper, many of the national writers are picking us to win the division. So it's nice. I think you carry a little swagger into spring training when you feel like you've got a chance to go deep into the postseason. I mean, one day at a time, but with this pitching staff and a healthy Buxton, Correa, Royce Lewis, it feels like the formula's there. Now can we put it all together and get the work in? I think you've reported on it. You've heard Rocco's going to play these guys. The big guys are playing tomorrow. We haven't released the lineup yet, but I think you're going to see, Royce, Carlos, and Byron in that lineup, and we're gonna give it a go.
Nice. I'll be here. I can't wait. Shayla says Dustin is the GOAT. Look at that.
Wow.
How about that?
That is pretty good.
That's pretty good. Nobody says that about me, Dustin. Dustin Morse, our guest. We appreciate all the help this week. It was really fun. Thanks, Dustin.
I was going to say, you are the GOAT this week. You guys covered a lot of ground, talked to a lot of people. You were here early, stayed late, some live shows. Thank you. Thanks for being here, and thanks for sharing these twin stories. It's I'm grateful. The twins are grateful.
I don't want to get a reputation as like a hard worker. We don't need that. Dustin, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll break more from spring training in Florida in just a minute here on Drive Time.
Drive Time with DeRusha is live from Twins Spring Training, presented by the Islands and Beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel and the Luminary Hotel and Company in sunny Fort Myers.
Now Dustin gets to watch me talk about Chris Lindahl. When you say Chris Lindahl, you sort of you got to do the stretch, the 7th inning stretch, the arms wide out. Chris Lindahl, I've known Chris for a long time. And there is a time when you need the guaranteed cash offer. It's not for everybody, but he's just such a creative, innovative marketer. Grew up in Minnesota, went to college in Mankato, just wrote a book, actually. His upbringing is absolutely mind-blowing. So check it out at armsout.com if you want to learn more about Chris. But Chris mostly wants you, if you need to sell your house right away, the guaranteed cash offer is the way. That's how you do it. If you life happens, right? You get maybe a divorce or a death in the family, or somebody moves to senior living, or you got to sell the house because of a job change. Go to chrislindahl.com. Find out what the guaranteed cash offer is. There's no obligation, but you can sell your home. No stress, no open houses, no sign in the front yard, no neighbor going through your underwear drawer. You sell it and you go. It is amazing. It is effective. And there's a reason that Chris Lindahl has thousands of 4-star reviews. Find out for yourself. Go to chrislindahl.com.
Hey, Twins fans, it's time for spring training in Fort Myers. Cheer on your favorite team at Hammond Stadium within the Lee Health Sports Complex. Then explore the islands, beaches, and neighborhoods of Fort Myers between games. Sink your toes into white sand, discover lush nature preserves filled with wildlife, and dine on fresh Gulf seafood. Turning your love of baseball into a relaxing vacation just feels right. Start planning at visitfortmyers.com.
Paul Simon in concert. The live debut of the critically acclaimed 7 Psalms, and a celebration of his timeless classics. April 20th, 22nd, and 23rd at Orpheum Theater. Tickets on sale Friday at 10 a.m. at paulsimon.com. Don't miss this rare, intimate evening with Paul Simon.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
You can find the roads to be in pretty good shape. No real hassles out there. If you're going to be traveling north 100, some slowing, approaching 94. If you're traveling 694 westbound, that's a jam up at Silver Lake Road, heading over toward Highway 252. South Metro crosstown eastbound slows between basically 100 heading out to Cedar Avenue. Trey Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jason DeRusha here. The Canopy Group represents 16 different insurance companies, not just one. They give you options. Each year, they'll review your program so you don't have to, making sure you get the best coverage at the best price. Do like I did. Go to thecanopygroup.com.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
All right, the Canopy Group brings us the weather forecast. We appreciate that, and we appreciate the forecast, too. Tonight, we get down to 12. Tomorrow morning, 32. Touching freezing. How about that? Sunday, 40. Great weekend. One more last chance to get out the Minnesota Ice Festival this weekend. Do it. It's going to be nice. Right now in the Twin Cities, it's 20 on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha, live from Twins Spring Training. Presented by the islands and beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel and the Luminary Hotel and Company and sunny Fort Myers.
Cook made me nervous there. Wrapping me up because I'm talking too long. You know, I love a good weather forecast.
I do know you love a good weather forecast.
I love a good weather forecast. I just cannot help myself.
Did you see our friend Shayla is back, too, on the comment line saying that you're also the GOAT?
Oh,
so you and Dustin are
that?
goats. I'm just chopped liver, apparently, is the deal.
Wow.
So.
You know what? Nothing better than
That's
all
fine.
of us kind of whining.
That's fine.
For attention. That's what it really
Thank you,
is.
Josh. Appreciate that.
That's what it really is. Okay, next hour, we have got, what do we have coming up, Dan Cook? You don't know. Michael E. Jordan, the CEO of Unreal. Did you see their Super Bowl ad, Unreal? We're going to talk about the origin story, how this brand started out, kind of where they're going. That should be good stuff. So Michael Jordan, who just had a second baby, taking time out to join us here on CCO. Then we'll talk about the Postal Service. Donald Trump saying he's going to take it over. Of course he is. If you ran the Postal Service, what would you do? That coming up in a half hour on CCO.
I'm Sia, and I support Humane World for Animals. Together, we have created a new version of Peter Gabriel's beautiful song, Salisbury Hill, to celebrate Humane World for Animals and everything they do. Enjoy the song and join us in helping Humane World for Animals end animal cruelty.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray.
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this important announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free. with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit. 800-329-2121. 800-329-2121. 800-329-2121.
We could all use more time. Amazon Business offers smart business buying solutions, so you could spend more time growing your business and less time doing the admin. I can see why they call it smart. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Consistent updates in a constantly changing world. News Talk 830, WCCO, 1029 KMNB HD2, Minneapolis, St. Paul. Streaming live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Michael Wallace. Another sell-off on Wall Street. CBS's Jason Brooks says traders are worried about the economy.
The Dow plummeted 748 points as inflation expectations soared higher in the University of Michigan's Consumer Sentiment Index for February, with a large decline in expectations for future big-ticket purchases such as autos and appliances.
There was also a report on declining home sales. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass has canned Fire Chief Kristen Crowley.
Acting in the best interest of Los Angeles public safety and for the operations of the Los Angeles Fire Department, I just met with Chief Crowley and removed her as fire chief.
Bass says Crowley sent 1,000 firefighters home before the wildfires started, despite a forecast of high winds. The Pentagon expects to lose 5,400 probationary employees next week. The Trump administration has fired 243 TSA workers and thousands of IRS employees.
Liz Alvarado says the call was direct.
They were just like, hey, come in tomorrow and turn all your stuff in. You're no longer with us.
She was just 3 weeks from completing her one-year probationary period. Federal employees can be terminated easily during that time. Alvarado says Americans who need help from the IRS are now going to have to wait longer.
There's going to be even less workers here now. You know, these were real people with real jobs.
Experts say the layoffs of about 7,000 IRS probationary workers nationwide likely means the agency's plan to go after high wealth and high income tax cheats will not move forward. Christopher Cruz, CBS News, Washington.
Luigi Mangione, the alleged killer of United Healthcare CEO, had a court hearing in New York today. His attorney, Karen Friedman Agnifilo, is upset the Justice Department won't allow Mangione to be held in state custody.
The federal government is still considering whether to execute Luigi and considering whether to seek the death penalty. So we are fighting that simultaneously while going first here in state court.
The courtroom was packed with dozens of Mangione's fans, mostly young women. CBS's Vicki Barker has the latest on Pope Francis.
The Pope's doctors have just delivered their first in-person update on his condition. They say he's getting occasional supplements of oxygen and is responding to drug therapy for his double pneumonia. He's also being treated for a complex lung condition.
Hosting the nation's governors at the White House, President Trump and Maine Governor Janet Mills clashed over the executive order banning transgender athletes from female sports.
Are you not going to comply with it?
I'm complying with state and federal laws.
We are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't.
Governor Mills told the president, "We'll see you in court." Trump replied he looks forward to an easy win. This is CBS News.
Brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You could save big when you bundle your auto, home, motorcycle, RV, or boat. Visit Progressive.com.
Now from Minnesota's radio station, let's get you caught up with Minnesota's latest headlines and biggest stories on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Mostly sunny, 26 degrees at 4:03. I'm Laura Oakes. And as we heard on CBS, the man accused and arrested in the shooting death of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson of Minnesota returned to a New York City courtroom today. Throngs of supporters turned out to catch a glimpse of 26-year-old Luigi Mangione, who is charged with first-degree murder and terrorism. Meanwhile, the Wall Street Journal reporting that the Justice Department has launched an investigation into United Health Group's Medicare billing practices.
The new civil fraud investigation is examining the company's practices for recording diagnoses that trigger extra payments to its Medicare Advantage plans, including at physician groups the insurance giant owns. A series of articles in the Journal last year showed that Medicare paid United billions for questionable diagnoses. Attorneys with the Justice Department, as recently as late last month, interviewed medical providers named in those articles. Steve Simpson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
In a statement, the company calls the report outrageous and false. 2 more suspects are now charged with murder in upstate New York in the torture killing of a transgender Minnesota man. 29-year-old Kimberly Sosha and 21-year-old Thomas Eves joined 5 others charged in the killing of 24-year-old Sam Nordquist earlier this month. Authorities say he was tortured for weeks by multiple people before he died, his body discarded in a field. Investigators say there is no evidence of a hate crime, and all involved identify as LGBTQ+. Hennepin County Sheriff DeWanna Witt clarifying a ruling by the Minnesota Supreme Court this week that classifies the inside of a car as a public place and thereby subject to search by law enforcement. Witt telling WCCO's Adam and Jordana officers still do need probable cause.
It's not like we are saying that we're just going to search cars by random. There has to be a reason for that. There has to be, you have to be able to articulate the reason for that search. So I think it's very important for people to realize that it's not just at random, we're going to search your car.
The ruling stems from a 2022 case against a man accused of carrying a BB gun in his car without a permit to carry. A judge originally dismissed the case, saying the deputy didn't have probable cause to search his car. Minnesota Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan making the rounds this week, encouraging residents to get their taxes done and touting the state's child tax credit.
This is the program that alone is expected to cut child poverty by 1/3 in our state. And last year, more than 223,000 Minnesotans claimed the child tax credit for an average total credit of $1,242.
Flanagan also highlighted the child tax credit's advanced payment option, where those who qualify are able to receive part of next year's credit early. Well, the Minneapolis Monster Jam is in town this weekend for what drivers are calling an adrenaline-charged weekend of family-friendly fun.
The event will feature 12 iconic trucks, including Gravedigger, Megalodon, and a newcomer, Sparkle Smash, a 6-ton unicorn truck featuring a confetti cannon and, as the name implies, a whole lot of sparkle. Driver Kayla Blood says for her, competing has become all about the fans.
Being a competitor, you go out there and you want to compete and you want to have fun, but then you also realize being a female in the sport, you're getting out there and you're inspiring so many people just by having the guts to get out there and compete with the guys in these trucks.
Drivers are set to compete in 3 forms of competition this weekend: racing, 2-wheel skills, and freestyle. It all kicks off Saturday at 12:30. Taylor Rivera, News Talk 830. WCCO.
In WCCO News Time is 4:06.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Not too bad for a Friday afternoon. Got some slowing south 35E through St. Paul, heading down to about Victoria Street. The streets pick up beyond that. East 55, some slowing across the Mendota Bridge. The crosstown, watching some heavier levels right now between Gleason and Cedar Avenue. Up on the north side, you'll find 610 eastbound slowing past Broadway. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Washburn-McCreevy Funeral Chapels and Cremation Services has been providing compassionate and personalized service for over 160 years. Honor your loved one and ensure your own wishes are met. Call 612-377-2203 or visit washburnmccreevy.com.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Brought to you by Washburn-McCreevy Funeral, Cremation, and Pre-Planning Services. Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
What a great combination. It's the weekend and we're warming up. Partly cloudy tomorrow with a high of 32 degrees, even warmer on Sunday with a high near 40. Now the average is 31 and it looks like we should stay above average for the rest of February with a few chances of rain because it will be so mild.
Mostly sunny right now, 26 at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Engage your mind, not just your ears. Listen, think, react with News Talk 830 WCCO. No suit, no tie, just DeRusha. It's Drive Time. Live from the WCCO studios, high atop the Odyssey Tower.
Ladies and gentlemen, please make some noise.
I'm super excited to introduce to you
Jason DeRusha.
And we are live here in Fort Myers, Florida at the Lee Health Sports Complex. Hammond Field, spring training in effect starting tomorrow, right now, live on the field. There's a guy with one of those lawn rollers putting the stripes into that beautiful, freshly cut green grass. Oh, looks nice. Like a little bit of a, how would you describe that pattern, Dan? It's a little bit of like a sort of a diamond circle. What, you're looking at me like you can't answer this question? Do you have a microphone over there? What's happening?
I thought you had a guest you were getting into here. Sorry.
Well,
Yes, but I don't know how to describe this. So
the worst. Michael E. Jordan, the CEO of Unreal, help me out here. Dan Cook does not want to describe there is something very satisfying about the stripes on a baseball field or on your lawn. True or not?
Very true. Everyone knows that. The best part about mowing your lawn is they get those nice crisp lines. I think everybody gets satisfaction by seeing that, right?
Have you ever been so obsessed that you were tempted to like buy the little roller attachment? You can get like a roller thing to hook onto your lawnmower. That's sort of next level craziness, I think.
That's pretty elite. I can't say the thought has even crossed my mind because I didn't know that that's how you do it. I've tried to do the checkerboard and it just didn't work out for me. So
right.
I think I hung it up at that point.
Michael E. Jordan is the founder of Unreal, UNRL, which maybe people got a sense of your ambitions if they saw your Super Bowl ad this year. Michael, tell me how Unreal got started.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. First of all, I appreciate this. And I'll take you back to, it's been 11 years now, and Unreal was founded in my mom's basement, actually. At the time, I was a college dropout. I had dropped out halfway through my sophomore year to pursue a business venture. And long story short, that one ended up I didn't hit a home run on that one. That one fell apart. And so after licking my wounds and trying to get myself back on the saddle, I decided I'm going to start this Unreal brand. And so started with a shoestring budget and made some t-shirts and hats. I had I acquired some talent of doing design work, graphic design and web design. Since I was a pretty young teenager when I started getting into all that. So I was able to stand up the brand on a bit of a shoestring budget. And, did I envision 10 years later we'd be running Super Bowl commercials? No, I guess not. But it's been quite a journey since then. And I owe a lot of that credit to my team. And I've just been able to recruit a team of really, really talented people and hardworking people that have believed in the vision. And that was really the ticket to this, to the success that we've found over the years.
Michael E. Jordan with us from Unreal. Tell us, how would you describe the vibe and the style? You really, I think of your clothes at, I love there's sort of a fabric and a feel. It feels premium. It feels special. And it's always got like a really cool design element to it. Do you think of it as like athleisure sounds wrong, but is that sort of the vibe?
Yeah, I would call it athleisure. I think the world is kind of confused on what's the difference between activewear and sportswear and athleisure. And so I tried to do my best at making a distinction between the differences in those three categories. I think active is really like compression wear that you're wearing out on a run. Sportswear, let's think of Nike and Adidas and Under Armour, a little bit looser fitting typically, a little more boxy, I should say. And then the athleisure world, spun up, let's say, 10 years ago, but it really took the world by storm, honestly, like in 2020 when COVID happened, and it became socially acceptable to wear more performance clothes when you're in a business meeting, right? And so what the big difference was for me between a Lululemon and a Nike was the fit and the fabrics were it was a better fit, more tapered and a lot better fabrics. And so I think we're kind of playing in between the sportswear and athleisure worlds at Unreal. We're taking the fit and the premium fabrics and then we're going over and doing collaborations with sports teams and other brands and adding a different twist to it. And so how would I describe it? I would say it's a a really streamlined athletic fit. But even if you're not a chiseled from stone athlete body, it makes you look more fit if you have a dad bod going on, right? And so
you
it's
just
not
had
a-
your
not a
second
European
you
slim
just had
fit,
your
but-
second child, right? Are you in dad bod mode? The new baby is what, a week old, so like it's nice. I'm sure maybe this feels like a little break from new baby life, but you're not quite dad bod. Maybe I'm more in that category.
I think we're both doing all right. I'm like a skinny dad bod. I have a hard time putting on pounds, so I'm not quite there yet. I'm sure my day will come where my metabolism slows down. But yeah, just had our second kid. We have two little boys under 2 years old, so it's absolutely beautiful, and we're having a great time just welcoming our second baby, Case, to the world. And his name's Case Jordan. Nickname is Casey, and we named him after a good friend of both of ours, Casey O'Brien, because he's just such an inspiration and such a strong guy. For those of you who don't know Casey O'Brien, he was the placeholder for the Gopher football team, and he has had a very, very tough hand being dealt to him, and he's on his 8th round of cancer right now and fighting a really tough battle. And so but this is a man that just keeps going and doesn't
Just
let
incredible.
it, he doesn't ever get discouraged, right?
Just incredible.
Yeah.
And in a way, that is the spirit that you're trying to channel in your brand, right? Started from nothing, started on a shoestring budget, and now with ambitions to kind of be on that national stage. How much do you think those partnerships with sports teams has been a factor in your success?
Yeah, I think it's been instrumental, really. I think that, when we go in and do a collaboration with the Minnesota Vikings or the Twins or the Wild, it just really opens up our network, or not really our network, our customer base. And if we can go capture the Twins customer base, well, our goal is hopefully they really love that sweatshirt or whatever the product is that we came out with, and they come back and become an Unreal fan. And so I think just being able to cross-pollinate and open up a whole new channel of potential customers has been huge. And I think that fans are really drawn to the stuff that we're doing in these licensed collaborations, because it's just a different twist than what you're used to from a Nike or an Adidas or a traditional sportswear brand. We're taking a really high-end material, and then we're doing the trims or the detailing way different. Like we're doing a 3D embroidery or embossing the logo of the team by stamping it through the sweatshirt and having it look like a really faint beveled design. And I think that premium detailing is what really kind of separates
that work
us
is happening here, right? That work is happening right in the Twin Cities.
Yeah, most of that is actually, we don't do the embossing in our shop in St. Paul, but all of our embroidery work, all of our silicone printing is done in St. Paul. So it's pretty fun to be able to, tap on to have a team here locally and be able to turn things around fast. That's, one of our core values at Unreal is agile. And that, I think, is another, element that really helps us, gain an edge on the big Goliath brands like Nike.
Michael, would you hang on for a minute? We're going to play a little clip from your Super Bowl ad, and I want to ask about kind of what your goal is as Unreal started here in the Twin Cities, but the goals are bigger than that. So more with Michael E. Jordan, Unreal, UNRL, and I know based on my email that there's some big Timberwolves collaboration coming out on Sunday. I'll be at the game, so I'm excited to hear about that. So we'll talk more with Michael E. Jordan in just a minute here on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha, live from Twins Spring Training. Presented by the islands and beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel, and the Luminary Hotel and Company and sunny Fort Myers.
All right, I was joking about dad bod, but Livia took care of that problem for me. It's Jason DeRusha here for my friends at Livia. And now is really the time for you to make the choice to take care of yourself, to make yourself the priority. Livia, year after year after year, has been voted gold, best weight loss company in Minnesota. 15 years they've been getting it done, more than 1 million pounds lost. They helped me lose 45 pounds, and more importantly, They helped me keep that off for more than 2 years. I feel so good. They changed my life. They really did. They created a personalized weight loss plan and a personalized plan to keep the weight off. Take action right now because they've got a limited time offer to celebrate their 15-year anniversary. They're giving you 50% off. 15 for 50% off. This is an unbelievable offer on their doctor recommended nutrition program, and they've got the best prices on GLP-1 weight loss medication as well. But you do that the Livea way, which makes it special. Go online to Livea, Livea.com, or make the call 855-GO-LIVEA.
Paid for by government. Now is the time to fill your vault with Morgan Silver Bars. Grab your piece of America's silver legacy with this special offer. These spectacular shining silver bars featuring a crisp image of the iconic Morgan Silver Dollar, a legendary coin that has captivated collectors for generations. Call now to secure 1-ounce silver bars minted in 99.9% pure silver and made in the USA. Don't miss out on this special deal. Regularly priced at $49.95, but for a limited time, only $39.95. Save $10 per silver bar. Limit of 25 bars per customer. The more you buy, the more you save. Up to $250 in savings and free shipping on every order. Plus, with qualifying orders, you'll receive a free Morgan Silver Dollar. That's a $59.95 value free. Call 1-800-386-7195 now to secure your 1-ounce Morgan Silver Bars for only $39.95. That's 1-800-386-7195.
We're speaking with UCare's Albert Reed, who has many years of experience helping people with their Medicare decisions. And I know there's a lot of confusion around Medicare, especially for people who are just starting to learn about it. Can you tell me what the difference is in original Medicare, Medicare Advantage, and Medicare supplement plans?
So original Medicare is your basic foundation. It's comprised of 2 parts. That's going to be Medicare Part A, which is hospital coverage, and then Part B, which is the medical coverage. Medicare itself is designed to cover about 80% of your overall medical costs with no out-of-pocket limit. You can use any provider nationwide as long as they accept original Medicare.
So what is a Medicare supplement plan?
They're designed to help cover the other 20% that Medicare leaves off. Like Medicare, they can be used nationwide as long as that provider accepts Medicare. They are fully portable. They will go with you wherever you move or travel. Great for folks that may anticipate some medical concerns. Folks that want a little bit more safety and not have to worry about co-insurances or deductibles. They want to pay one monthly cost and ensure that their costs are covered for medical. UCare does have competitive rates for Medicare supplement plans, some of the lowest rates statewide that you can find.
What about Medicare Advantage plans?
Medicare Advantage plans will combine all the benefits of Part A and Part B and likely will include Part D drug coverage. Medicare Advantage options are known to be pay as you go. You will be responsible for some co-pays, co-insurances, and deductibles. They come in a variety of different options. Some will have premiums. UCare happens to have plans as low as 0 premium.
So out of all these options, why UCare?
We're friendly. We have a local customer service available 7 days a week, and we truly are people-powered in everything that we do. We do have Medicare plans for every person. Also, we do partner our decomplicators and our broker network that can help guide you and make sure that you have exactly the plan that you need for long-term health goals.
For more, contact a local broker and visit ucare.org.
Drive Time with DeRusha is live from Twins Spring Training, presented by the Islands and Beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel and the Luminary Hotel and Company in sunny Fort Myers.
What's up? How you guys doing? Everything good? Wow. Wait. Whoa. You got the new Unreal Drive. Man, I got to get on that.
No one told you?
No one tells me anything. That's looking good, though.
Yeah, we do look good.
I got to step my game up. Excuse me. And then I'll make a phone call. Vests too? Unreal.
That is a clip of the Unreal ad starring Christopher McDonald, the actor who played Shooter McGavin in Happy Gilmore. You saw Joe Mauer. You saw John Randall. What was that like for you, Michael Jordan? Which we always have to use the middle initials so people don't think we're talking. We're not. It's not Michael B. Jordan. It's not Michael Jordan. It's Michael E. Jordan. What was it like, Michael, having that Super Bowl ad and watching it during the big game?
It was pretty cool, Jason. I gotta admit, it was really cool to film it. I actually had the timing off a little bit when it came on. It surprised me at the beginning of halftime. I was thinking it was going to be at the end of halftime. So it was pretty surreal. I mean, I was at my neighbor's house and just getting to know these people, and I didn't say anything about having a commercial, so they were all kind of jaws hitting the floor, like, what is happening right now? So that was really cool, but I think producing it and being on set and filming it was just really, really special. It was cool to see Christopher McDonald in his element. And I mean, he didn't treat it like a side project. It looked like, and neither did this production company, Capture Film Co. and out of Minneapolis as well, who did the shooting of this. And Troy Beckman, our internal videographer, did a lot of the directing, and it was just top-notch, state-of-the-art sets. And seeing Christopher McDonald in his element, you know, he was pushing hard to run it back one more time. He had another idea on how he wanted to portray this scene, and it was pretty cool. You might have seen me ending up or popping up there at the end doing a little cameo, and that was not by design. That was a last-minute audible. Nick Swartz, and the comedian, was supposed to be in that, and then he unfortunately got sick that day. So he had a last-minute cancellation, and we were all standing there going, well, who's going to do the last scene? And so I just said, well, I'll do it. We'll just get rid of the talking lines and try to make me look natural. But that was fun. You know, it was pretty cool, and kind of had to pinch myself when I realized I'm literally shooting what seems to be a movie scene with Shooter McGavin here. So that was cool.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, what is the goal? You're a White Bear Lake native. You're doing your design work and some of the embroidery happening in St. Paul. What is the goal for Unreal?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. It's a great question. I think there's one phrase that kind of encapsulates all of it, and that's leave a legacy. We want to leave a legacy, and it means a couple things to us. One is, you know, we want to be remembered for not only just making great products, but what impact did we make? So, you know, being able to take this platform of a brand that we have and do some good in the community, and, you know, come alongside people like Casey O'Brien or the Masonic Children's Hospital, or you name it, you know, Folds of Honor, Military Heroes Foundation, and support those different notable causes has been something that's near and dear for me. And I think my whole staff would say that that's probably their favorite part about working at Unreal, is that it's not just a clothing brand, and you know, we don't want to just be remembered for making great sweatshirts. We want to, you know, be remembered for something more. And on a little bit more, a different note of that is we want to be remembered as, or known as, the brand from Minnesota. And so giving Minnesotans something to kind of pound our chest on and be proud of, you know, the same way that everybody in Oregon is proud of Nike, and proud to say that they're from that area. And same thing in Baltimore with Under Armour. I think, you know, that'd be really cool to be nationally recognized as that's the brand from Minnesota, and give everyone here something to be proud of.
I love that, because I think too often, like, we're not willing to take enough of a swing, right? There's something in Minnesotans where you think like, oh, if we have this like little farmer's market brand, it's good and cute and we're doing great. And I don't want to be too big for my britches. But I think you got to take a swing every once in a while. And if you guys really blow up, like, I just think that's nothing but good for recruiting other entrepreneurs to start their business here.
For sure. Yeah. And I think that for us, I envision us getting to a very massive size and being a global brand, but that it comes with a little bit of an asterisk on it for me. I think one of the differences between myself and most other entrepreneurs is I'm not in it for, I'm not chasing the dollar signs necessarily, right? I think it's a good scoreboard for us to, you know, be able to size ourselves up and see where we're at and are we growing at the right pace. But we're not, we're more focused on making premium quality products than we are trying to mass produce and hit a big, massive revenue target. And so it may take us a little bit, you know, a little longer than if we brought in a venture capital firm and poured gas on the fire, so to speak. But for me, it's about, being able to keep up with it and make sure we can hit the quality standards that we've set and do that with grace and do it comfortably. That's more important to me than getting to $1 billion in revenue, for example. And so I think we will get there. I think it's going to be, it's not we're the tortoise in the race, maybe not the hare. So, but that's my ambition. So,
well,
it'll be fun to see where this thing goes.
No doubt. No doubt. You're just in your mid-30s. You're getting started. Congratulations to you and your wife, Mia, on the second.
I just turned 32. I'd say early 30s.
Early 30. I get the sensitivity, Michael. I just turned 50, so I'm like, now I'm in my 50s. Do we have to say that? I don't know. I got a text today from the pharmacy directed to older adults. I'm like, oh no. Like, I guess we're there now. We're in the older.
After 20, birthdays just suck, don't they? I mean, it's the milestone decade. Birthdays are not something we look forward to as much anymore.
It's not the same. Let me ask you quickly a couple quick questions from texters. One, can you only buy Unreal online, or can you get it at a brick and mortar store?
Yeah, you can. Shields would be our biggest retailer. Shields and Von Mar. Shields is over in Eden Prairie. Von Mar has locations in Maplewood, Roseville, all over the metro. And then golf shops. We're in a ton of different country clubs. I think we're in about 100 in Minnesota. So there's plenty of different brick and mortar shops. I would say Shields has the largest assortment. If you want to get a real feel for the brand, that would be the place that I would check first.
And another texture, obviously, with President Trump right now trying to bring more manufacturing back in the U.S. Have you looked at, the clothing and the fabric comes from overseas. Have you looked at, all right, what would it look like if we made the whole thing here in the U.S.?
Yeah, you know what? I would really love to partake in that initiative. It is something that I've spent quite a bit of time trying to figure out and see if it's feasible. It's a big challenge on the clothing side of things because we just don't have the same the same efforts going into the studying of manufacturing clothing like they do in other countries. And so I think it's going to take a while for us to get to a level where we can do technical garments at that level. I think there's some really high-end denim shops here or manufacturing plants.
But that's about it. That really is.
Yeah, it is. So
it's tough to do.
That's going to be a challenge for sure. We'll see though. I'm not opposed to it. I think it can happen. It may not be immediate.
Makes sense. It'd be cool if you could, right? Like, it'd be cool if we got the infrastructure up where we could make that stuff here. I think everybody thinks that would be great if you could do it in a way that made sense. Yeah. Michael E. Jordan.
For us, it's not even, sorry, one more. It's not even about the cost of manufacturing overseas. We're right sizing that with tariffs on the import. So for me, it's all about the quality and just the different functionality that they have in these different markets overseas is, leaps and bounds ahead of what we have here in the States for the most part. So, but yeah, we'll see. It would be awesome if that's something that starts to really develop over the years.
Michael E. Jordan, we appreciate it. This was really interesting. Thanks for being with us, and congratulations on the company, and more importantly, congratulations on the kid. That's the big stuff.
That is the big stuff. Thanks so much, Jason. I appreciate you having me on.
Pretty cool. Unreal. Go check it out. You can get it online. UNRL is the website. And then lots of collaborations there was a Joe Mauer appearance in the Super Bowl ad as well. We're live at Minnesota Twins spring training. First game is tomorrow in a minute here on CCO. News from the White House that Donald Trump's going to take over the Postal Service. We'll talk about that. Plus, Ryan Jeffers. We're going to hear from Ryan Jeffers. Lots more ahead from spring training on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha, live from Twins Spring Training, presented by the Islands and Beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel, and the Luminary Hotel and Company in sunny Fort Myers.
Hey, if you're making plans this weekend, looking for somewhere to go out to eat, make sure you consider the Jester Concepts restaurants. It's Jason. Jester Concepts sponsors Cardi Sharks on Friday. We're not playing today because we're in Florida. But go say thanks by going to check them out at PS Steak, Starling in Edina, Parlor with locations in St. Paul, the North Loop, and Excelsior, Butcher and the Boar, and more. We give our thanks to Jester Concepts.
It's Legislation Mania 2025. I'm Bob.
And I'm Biff. We're ready for the main event featuring the champion for nearly 250 years. It's Checks and Balances.
Yeah, but Biff, we've got a challenger no one's been able to stop. Introducing Executive Orders.
Leaping out of his corner right away, it's Executive Orders, and oh, that had to hurt. And oh my, Checks and Balances really taking a beating here.
The gloves are off, the mics are on, and you get to hear every takedown on News Talk 830 WCCO.
You sit on your deck and you're sick of looking at your crappy siding. Type JTR on your computer for roofing, siding, gutters, windows, and more. JTR Roofing has you covered from the roof on down, serving the Twin Cities Metro. For a free estimate, visit jtrroofinginc.com.
You can do this. Why? Because no one cares more about your money than you. Right now, many have concerns about their retirement, their investments. Are these mutual funds a poor investment? Did you know that with the average fees of 2%, you could be missing out on upwards of half of your potential retirement dollars? That's pretty high for management, especially when 75% of these funds underperform the market. At Trading Academy, our mission is to empower you to take control of your investments. Text investing to 210-210. Take control of your financial future. Maybe it's to just have a better conversation with your broker. Sign up for a free investing class, local classrooms, one-on-one mentoring, how to protect your investments against inflation. Text investing to 210-210 or go to learnwithota.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-656-1551. That's 800-656-1551. 800-656-1551.
It's like being trapped in a cage. And I know that sounds dramatic, but your breathing triangle problem has got you trapped. And once you're freed, you're going to be able to live the life that you're missing out on. Now, this can simply mean experiencing the true pleasure of breathing freely. It will mean better sleep and more energy. And the worry of this problem any more affecting your life is going to be gone. Because in almost every case, when Advent has solved a breathing triangle problem, it's a one and done. Because we're not in the business of delivering Band-Aids. We want to fix your nasal breathing problem for good. We don't want you to be a lifelong patient. We want you to be our next success story.
Isn't it time you break free from that cage? Take the next step. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
Results may vary. Most insurance accepted.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Crash working on 610 eastbound East River Road. Left two lanes were affected. Now it's just the one left lane that is blocked right now. Drive Gustavo as you come away from Broadway, so get ready for the 20 to 30 minute delay there. If you're going to be traveling 10 westbound, that's jammed up approaching Hanson. West 94 slowing Hemlock Lane, heading up toward the rest area. If you're going to be traveling 694 eastbound, got some slowdowns approaching Highway 36. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
I use it. It works for me, and I am thrilled to be able to share the information with you. Jordana Green here, and yes, I'm talking about CBD.
Mini Leaf means quality. Taste happy at minileaf.com.
The home of Minnesota's best legal products.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Weather brought to you by Mini Leaf, Minnesota's best legal products. Here is Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
This weekend is going to feel fantastic. Our highs have been below average for almost 3 consecutive weeks. That should come to an end tomorrow. Partly cloudy with a high of 32, up to 40 on Sunday. We should have highs in the low 40s Monday and Tuesday. In fact, we should stay above average for the rest of February.
Right now in the Twin Cities, it is 27 degrees, but a little windy, so it feels more like 17 on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha, live from Twins Spring Training, presented by the Islands and Beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel, and the Luminary Hotel and Company in sunny Fort Myers.
Oh, it feels good to be here in Fort Myers. Spring training starting. Well, spring training's underway, but we get baseball underway tomorrow. It's Minnesota Twins ready to go, and we're going to see a lot of the regular starters to start things off as well. So sort of a new sheriff in town, and that doesn't mean a total shift to the way the Minnesota Twins have been dealing with the catcher position. But Ryan Jeffers is going to see a lot of action, no question about it. He is a character. He is fun to talk to, and we talked to him from the clubhouse. I love the T-shirt, Minnesota.
It's an old school. It's an old school one I found in my closet before I came down here. So I might as well hopefully channel some of that energy from that team.
That team was exciting, right? Do you look back at some of the old Twin squads? You have some of the old, I hate to say old, they would be offended, but they are old guys around.
Yeah, no, it's something that's super special that we get to do in our spring is bring around. I mean, I was counting the other. I think it's 5 Hall of Famers, something crazy like that. They get to walk around this clubhouse and pick their brains, and it's just really cool to have everybody back around.
How are you feeling after the offseason?
Great. Body feels really good. Put in some really good work in the offseason to attack some areas that I wanted to attack, and I felt like I got a good process out of that. And
what were you really trying to work on?
Just a couple things in the swing, simplify things here and there. You're always trying to reach for a level of consistency in this game, and that's always really hard to find. Being able to do this day in and day out and find what helps you, your cues to, okay, if this is going on, what do I got to do? If this is going on, what's that step? So I think really just figuring those out and going through the struggles is just kind of what makes you a better player.
There's some new coaching in the hitting side of things for the Twins. Has that changed anything? Have you been working with those guys?
Yeah, no, I've really enjoyed my time so far with them, especially early in camp. You're really trying to get to know each other, get to know how they talk hitting, how they try and understand how you tick as a player. So a lot of there's a learning curve, especially early in camp. But then once you kind of get through that, it's really good to grind some new minds and they see the game. Every hitting coach sees the game a little differently. So it's good sometimes to have some different eyes on stuff.
What's the routine like for you? When did you get down here? Last week?
I got down Super Bowl Sunday. That's 2 years in a row I've gotten down. I drove down and flopped on my couch for the Super Bowl. But it's.
Do you stay where do you stay down here?
We're over at a community about 15 minutes away.
So it's comfortable again.
It's comfortable. We like it. My wife, my daughter down here, they love, this is a vacation for them. They get to go to the pool almost every day. Go outside, walk around, enjoy the sunshine. It's something you don't get in the winter a lot of times. So they're really enjoying it. It's fun for them. It's a good time of year.
Yeah, and you guys have had a goofy winter back home too, right?
Yeah, in North Carolina, we didn't get snow for 5 years, 6 years, no, 8 years. I think when or close to 8 years, and then we got 5 inches or something.
Now, our Minnesota fans back home right now are dealing with sub-zero weather for the first couple of days of this week. We feel really terrible being down here in Florida.
Yeah, it's only 85 up here, so it's
we're
okay.
Sorry. Yeah, it's fine. It's
if
a little
you don't like
nippy,
it, they could buy a plane ticket too, right?
Well, nothing's stopping them from going down here. For your family, it's fun. For you, being able to share this with them also has to be. During the season, it's not quite like that, is it?
Yeah, this is a little bit. I mean, we're pretty busy during spring, but there's moments where we get to slow it down, and you spend a lot more family time than you do in the season. So like I said, we get to enjoy the sunshine, go on walks together as a family at night, just do more things together, which is great.
Couple new faces around here, but a lot of the same faces as last year. How is that for you as far as getting to know new people or reconnecting, or what's that like?
Yeah, it's nice having a lot of the same guys in here. The core that we have is a really special group of guys that we've played together we played with each other for a long time. And then you add a couple of pieces in here that will play some big roles for us this year, and we're excited to see where that goes.
If you were not playing baseball, what would you be doing?
If I wasn't, probably something in the aerospace engineering field, something like that. I was a physics major in school, more so because they didn't have engineering at the school I went to play baseball at. So
where'd you go?
UNC Wilmington. So probably would have gone down somewhat of aerospace or aeronautical engineering, somewhere in there.
Outside of baseball, what's your go-to sport?
Go-to sport? Ooh, probably football. I was never good at basketball, I played a little bit of soccer growing up. I was pretty good at it, but that's just because I was pretty athletic growing up. But probably football.
When you're trying to decompress, what is the sort of leisure activity for you?
For me, it's just hanging with the family. I'm not a big hey, I need to go do something to go do something. I really enjoy just going and hanging out with them, kind of going with the flow. Hey, what's going on a walk?
One kid, right?
Yep, another on the way. So it's
another one on the way.
Yeah. So.
And how old is your
2.5?
2.5.
Yeah, it's a fun age.
It's fun.
Yeah, she's great.
Pretty good, right?
Yeah, she's great.
And getting able to share that, at this point, does she know what you do? Sort of, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She comes by the baseball field and she loves it. She can't wait to go see Daddy at baseball. So it's really cool. It's awesome looking up there and seeing her clapping and jumping and running around in the stands.
Now, a newborn baby, when's the due date?
Later in the season, August.
Fine. Well, I do think it's amazing how sort of sports has changed the fact where when your wife has the baby, I think fans sort of get it now. There was a time where people would be furious if an athlete would step away and go take a paternity moment, but it's different.
Yeah, we get 3 days, so you embrace those.
You
3
take
days,
it.
You embrace those. How many times in your life do you get to have a child? So you really embrace those moments. And
some athletes get to have a child a lot. It's your choice. It's up to you.
You can have as many, as many as you want, but I think there's a cap on that. A little bit of an artificial cap on that somewhere.
It seems right. Well, excited about this season, feeling good.
Yeah, I think we're really excited about the group we got in here. I think we got the chance to do something really special. We just got to get all the pieces to come together, and like you do every year, if everything meshes up right, you can do something really special.
Sounds good. Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it.
It does look like, Dan, we're still going to see a bit of a combination of what we have seen in the past. Last year, we had an almost even match, right, where Vasquez and Jeffers played about the same number of games. It looks like that's going to be the same. There's a lot of talk in the offseason. Will they trade Vasquez?
Yeah, they were certainly looking as Christian Vasquez's contract as one that could be moved and maybe
still could happen.
Reallocate
I suppose,
that money.
Could doesn't look good.
I wouldn't expect it at this point.
Yeah.
They split in terms of catching even games, but then Jeffers would DH a lot too. Right. So he got way more plate appearances than Christian did, and I don't think there's any reason to think that won't be the same thing again. They value his bat. He's a solid catcher behind the plate. There's no question about that, but they really value his offensive ability. So you'll see him DHing plenty as well.
Also a leader, right? You see it in the clubhouse.
Yep.
Yeah. And the catcher is really, that role has changed so much. Some of the shading of the pitches may be less of a factor as we go into the sort of robot umpire, although it's still, the robot isn't calling all of the balls and strikes and probably not coming to the major leagues until next year at the earliest.
26
right?
at the earliest. And then, of course, like we had talked about previously, the collective bargaining agreement between the players and the owners wraps up after next season. So after the 26 season. So there's some talk that maybe they hold off on implementing the challenge system until after that as well.
It's 4:47. We're going to break. When we come back, thanks, Dan. Dan always the insight on and I appreciate all the people who text in who always thank Dan for the extra insight. I'm a fan. You're a smart fan. You know what I mean?
I'm a nerdy fan. You called Jeremy Zoll a nerd on the air the other day.
It's good. I love it. I love to hear you talk about it too. So hope our listeners do as well. We are going to talk about President Donald Trump today saying he's going to take over the Postal Service. Why not? Why not? My question to you, if you were in charge of the Postal Service, what would you change? What would you fix? 651-461-9226. We'll talk about that next.
Drive Time with DeRusha is live from Twins Spring Training, presented by the Islands and Beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel and the Luminary Hotel and Company in sunny Fort Myers.
So my guy Kevin at JH & Son sent me a note today and said, Jason, here's the deal.
We've been doing this sort of seasonal closeout, fall and winter, kind of suits that are on sale, sport coats, sweaters. He's like, it's time. This weekend is it. J.H. & Sons at the Galleria in Edina. I'll say it again because it's a fairly new store in the Twin Cities. J.H. & Sons. It's at the Galleria, the shopping center in Edina. Now, the sale is bonkers. Like, I've never seen prices like this on menswear. Buy one, get one, suits and sport coats from the fall and the winter. Get over there and see what they got. Now, I went there already and I bought a pair of pants for $99. I bought a sweater that was 50% off. Outerwear is 50% off. So go get the best deals. And they've got a lot of new spring inventory in stock. This is premium menswear with premium service. You're going to feel so taken care of. It'll remind you of the old days of the old department stores for good reason. Because the Halberstadt family has been doing this for 5 decades. They started in St. Cloud. They're in Sioux Falls, and now they're at the Galleria. Go visit the guys who keep me looking good at J.H. & Sons.
Happy birthday to us. 2 surprises for you. 2 surprises from NordVPN. 2 surprises for you.
Celebrate twice as much with NordVPN. We have a special birthday deal. Get 72% off and a coupon for up to 1 year free. NordVPN is rated as excellent on PC Mag. Visit NordVPN.com and discover one of the most advanced VPNs in the world. What are the benefits? Secure up to 10 devices with a single account. Receive alerts if your email address leaks to the dark web. Reduce the risk of phishing, scams, and malware with NordVPN's Threat Protection Pro tool. Encrypt your online traffic and browse with more peace of mind. Get the special birthday deal at NordVPN.com. Additional terms apply. NordVPN, cybersecurity built for every day.
At the University of Minnesota, our goal is to make sure what happens in Minnesota doesn't stay in Minnesota, because the discoveries we're making have implications for the health of the world. From the cancer-detecting AI model we built in Rochester, to how we're redefining mental health in Morris, to breakthroughs we're making in Crookston, Duluth, and the Twin Cities. Our discoveries start here, but they make the world healthier everywhere. The University of Minnesota, driven to discover.
Right now, you can get the outdoor furniture you love with 0% financing, but only until February 24th. That means you can start your patio plans today and pay over time with no interest. Order now, your furniture will be ready when spring arrives. Plus, check out 2 stunning new wood grain colors and dozens of fresh designs so you can make your backyard truly one of a kind. Visit the showrooms in Jordan, Maple Grove, or Woodbury, or shop online at buytheyard.net. You better hurry. 0% financing ends February 24th. 0% financing subject to credit approval.
Paul Simon in concert. The live debut of the critically acclaimed 7 Psalms, and a celebration of his timeless classics. April 20th, 22nd, and 23rd at Orpheum Theater. Tickets on sale now at paulsimon.com. Don't miss this rare intimate evening with Paul Simon.
Although Barbra Streisand and Frank Sinatra never shared the stage, their musical legacies come together in Barbra and Frank, the concert that never was. Starring Sharon Owens and Sebastian Anzaldo. This can't-miss tribute features sensational performances of the powerhouse vocalist's biggest hits, captivating duets, and witty banter. See what could have been become reality at Treasure Island Resort and Casino on Friday, February 28th. Get your tickets at ticasino.com.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Shop and store online. Problems continue up on 610 eastbound East River Road, where his crews continue to work clear out a crash. Left lane is affected at this point, and also activity into the right lane. And traffic is snaking its way past the scene. Slowdowns continue as you come in from Broadway. 10 westbound, watching slowdowns there approaching Hanson Boulevard into Anoka. South 35E jammed up through downtown St. Paul as you head down to Randolph. Shop favorite brands at Whole Foods Market. Save 30% on Momo, Fuku, Lotus Foods, and Maya Kamal. Select sauces, soups, and sides with Prime through February 25th. Get Asian-inspired flavors for a vibrant meal. While supplies last, shop in store online. Terms apply. Terry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jordana Green here. I pray you and your family are always safe. But if there's ever a time where you need an advocate after an accident, let Mike Bryant of Bradshaw & Bryant help you. He will work with and for you in dealing with the insurance company. Call 800-770-7008 today. Bradshaw & Bryant, seeking justice for the injured.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Bradshaw and Bryant, seeking justice for the injured, bring us the weather forecast tonight. It's going to be reasonable. Just enjoy that. Low is 12. Tomorrow, high is 32, which is slightly above average finally. Sunday, 40, which is well above average for this time of year. 31 is the average, and we stay in the 40s. We'll be above average the rest of February. Enjoy it. Right now, it's 26 on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha, live from Twins Spring Training. Presented by the Islands and Beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel and the Luminary Hotel and Company and sunny Fort Myers.
Because the mail never stops. It just keeps coming and coming and coming. There's never a let-up. It's relentless. Every day it piles up more and more and more, and you got to get it out. And the more you get out, the more it keeps coming in. And then the barcode reader breaks, and it's Publishers Clearinghouse. All right.
I mean, Newman was right. The mail never stops. Word today that President Donald Trump plans to fire the independent board that runs the Postal Service and put the Postal Service in the Commerce Department. Now, postal experts tell the Washington Post this would probably violate federal law. Why let that stop you?
It hasn't stopped him so far.
But it did get me thinking about if I were king, if I were in charge, what would I do to change the Postal Service? And you and I were talking about this today. We got a couple texts on it, Dan. One suggestion does align with what I was thinking. And that's the texter who said, get rid of Saturday delivery. I think that's the no-brainer thing to do, right?
At least with first-class mail. Package delivery is kind of a separate deal.
Right.
But just the junk mail and the cards and letters or whatever, we can wait 2 extra days for that stuff. That's fine.
Now, my gut on this says we could really go to every other day, but you have to be mindful of your staffing, right? So are you really saving money if you go to every other day delivery? I don't know. Like, the goal is to save money. The other part of this, I think it is absurd that a stamp costs the same no matter what. So if you live in Podunk and somebody's got to drive all over the place to get a first-class mail to your house, I think you should have to pay for that. You should pay what it costs. They should be able to use the market and use business sense and price first-class mail at what it costs. And people aren't going to like it. People get mad when the stamp goes up a penny. I don't even know what a stamp costs. Do you, Dan?
No, and I think that's actually one of the brilliant moves that the Postal Service has made lately is they do the forever stamp thing that doesn't have the number on it, because if you don't see the number, you're not really thinking about it, and nobody freaks out about it the same way they did, like you said, when it was, what's going up 5 cents? Oh, my gosh.
I mean, if you would let the Postal Service charge what it actually costs, first of all, like, I just don't think everybody has a right, just because you live in an inconvenient spot, like, that's fine, but you should pay. You should pay what it costs.
There's something clearly has to change because there's enormous inefficiencies in the program right now. People aren't getting mail, the way that it's designed to. So we have to change something. So if the president can figure out a way to change something like that, have at.
Yeah, the world is different today, right?
No question.
We have Amazon. We have UPS. Amazon is delivering things directly. You have all of this stuff. And first-class mail, when's the last time you guys actually ever used a stamp? I mean, the reality is we as a government agency are sort of subsidizing direct mail and coupons and all of that. I don't know that it makes sense. Also, I don't think Trump should take it over.
Did you know that this year marks 100 years of Minnesotans supporting our veterans through the DAV of Minnesota? Showing your support is as easy as donating your gently used clothing and household items. Visit donatedavmn.org to schedule a curbside pickup or find the nearest donation drop-off location. Whether it's a community donation center at Savers or unique thrift stores or the neon green bin in your city, you're just a few miles from helping those who've served our country. So join DAV of Minnesota's efforts to give back to those who gave so much.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
If you want jazz music, go to New Orleans. Bagels, New York. And for psychics, think California Psychics. You want the best, you go to the best. At California Psychics, home of free spirits and open minds, we know better than anyone what makes a good psychic. That's why we guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
This is where Minnesota comes to talk. News Talk 830 WCCO 1029 KMNB HD2 Minneapolis, St. Paul. Streaming live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Michael Wallace. The Trump administration is eyeing more job cuts. CBS's Christopher Cruz begins our team coverage.
The Pentagon expects to fire 5,400 probationary employees in an initial cut next week, then put a hiring freeze in place while it reviews its personnel needs. More than 200 probationary TSA employees have been fired, among them airport screeners. And a federal judge named to the bench by President Trump has cleared the way for the administration to fire all but a small fraction of staffers at the U.S. Agency for International Development.
I'm Linda Kenyon at the White House. The president says yes, he is considering placing the Postal Service under the jurisdiction of the Commerce Department.
Well, we want to have a post office that works well and doesn't lose massive amounts of money. And we're thinking about doing that, and it'll be a form of a merger, but it'll remain the Postal Service, and I think it'll operate a lot better.
The president says new Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, who was sworn in today, could oversee the Postal Service. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass has dismissed Fire Chief Kristen Crowley. CBS's Carter Evans explains why.
She said that the chief did not leave 1,000 firefighters on duty that could have been on duty the day of the fire, and that was how she put the public in danger. She also said that the chief refused to complete an after-action report.
Crowley will stay with the department at a lower rank. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is vowing revenge after Hamas failed to release the body of an Israeli mother that it took hostage. Israel claims Hamas killed the woman's 2 young sons with their bare hands. CBS's Robert Berger is in Jerusalem.
Israel has now received the names of 6 Israeli hostages, living hostages, that are due to be released tomorrow. And then next week, we're expecting the release of 4 more bodies.
Pope Francis will have to stay in the hospital for at least another week as he battles pneumonia. His doctors say his condition is not life-threatening, but he is not out of danger. The New York Yankees have dropped their beard ban, a policy late owner George Steinbrenner enacted 49 years ago. But his son Hal says players' beards cannot be bushy.
It's going to be a well-groomed, clean look. It is important to the leaders of our team I talked to that we maintain that disciplined look.
He scored this hit, Only the Strong Survive, in 1968.
So listen to me, get up off your knees, 'cause only the strong survive.
Soul singer Jerry Butler has died. The Grammy-winning Rock and Roll Hall of Famer was 85. He was from Chicago and eventually became a Cook County commissioner, but still performed on weekends. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Now from Minnesota's radio station, let's get you caught up with Minnesota's latest headlines and biggest stories on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Mostly clear, 26 degrees at 5:03. I'm Laura Oakes. The top story: accused United Healthcare CEO killer Luigi
Mangione appeared in a New York City courtroom today for a status hearing. Dozens of young supporters packing the courthouse and the sidewalk outside. Attorney Ricky Kleeman.
It's significant to see Luigi Mangione at any point in time because of the enormous public interest in this case and this fan base, this cult base that has developed around him.
Mangione is accused of ambushing and fatally shooting Brian Thompson on a Manhattan sidewalk in early December. He was caught 5 days later in Pennsylvania. Local crisis lines may be impacted after staff at the Federal Mental Health Services Administration were fired as part of the government-wide cuts today. Minnesota's National Alliance on Mental Illness Executive Director Sue Abderholden says 988 was originally put in place by the Trump administration in 2020, and that rolling back staff now, when it hasn't been fully rolled out yet, sends the wrong message.
Well, what I worry is that people think that someone doesn't care, that nobody cares about them, that if they're in crisis and they reach out, that no one's going to answer that phone. And we don't want people to think that.
She says calls will still continue to be answered here in Minnesota, but there could be delays for calls picked up on specialized lines like the veterans and LGBTQ plus hotlines. Quite the drama at the girls' state high school hockey tourney this afternoon.
The day's first Class A semifinal matchup between Orono and Warroad was one for the ages. After finishing regulation tied at 1, the game wasn't decided until Warriors freshman Lindsay Lawrenson scored in the opening minutes of the third overtime to give Warroad a 2-1 win and a chance to defend their title against either Dodge County or Holy Angels. And as you can imagine, Lawrenson was mobbed by her teammates after the game-winning goal.
That's WCCO's Ari Bergeron. And here's another fun hockey fact today. 9.3 million people watched the Four Nations face-off final last night between Canada and the USA. That was on ESPN. The number is higher than any NHL game ever. Well, the snow's still on the ground, but there is golf in the air with the annual Minneapolis Golf Show underway at the Convention Center.
I like to look at the new technology and the new stuff that they have, and it's always interesting to see.
Terry Simpson of Plymouth leads the grounds crew at Shamrock Golf Course in Corcoran.
You get the tee boxes back up in place, and you get the flags put in, and you just get the benches put out and get that stuff going, and then you open up the doors and go from there. Don't mow grass for it takes a while for the grass to mow, but you just got to get things organized and get things opened up.
The golf show runs at the Minneapolis Convention Center through the weekend. WCCO News Time is 5:06.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
610 eastbound, the area of East River Road. Crash has been taken care of. Still the slowdown zones. You come away from Broadway, heading up toward the River Bridge. Driving West 94 to Minneapolis, that slows up as you make way toward Riverside into Larry Hill Tunnel. On the east side of the metro, you'll find 94 westbound, some slowing Mound to Marion. North 35 east, some slowing as well. Highway 62 into downtown St. Paul. Jerry Peterson, New Talk 830 WCCO.
Looking for senior living options? Jordana here. I invite you to check out award-winning New Perspective Senior Living with 10 communities in the Twin Cities metro. They offer you a friendlier approach to senior living. Call 888-229-2298. 888-229-2298.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Brought to you by New Perspective Senior Living. Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
What a great combination. It's the weekend and we're warming up. Partly cloudy tomorrow with a high of 32 degrees, even warmer on Sunday with a high near 40. Now the average is 31 and it looks like we should stay above average for the rest of February with a few chances of rain because it will be so mild.
Mostly clear right now, 26 at News Talk 830 WCCO.
From breaking news, everything you need to know, to bold opinions, you get what you need here. News Talk 830 WCCO. No suit, no tie, just DeRusha. It's Drive Time. Live from the WCCO studios, high atop the Odyssey Tower.
You're watching the cool brainwashing 12-year-old and younger station that hides behind a slick image. We're so cool that we decide what's cool. And now, here's your host,
Jason DeRusha.
Oh, it is one more hour of live broadcasting from Lee Health Sports Complex here in Fort Myers. We are looking out at Hammond Field as this is maybe one of the latest nights that people have been working here, Dan, as they are getting ready for the debut game, opening game that will actually feature starters. That's one of the headlines we got today from the Minnesota Twins, that they're going to play the real players. That is a bit of a change in spring training, where usually it's kind of younger players and you don't see your starters very often, but the starters, we don't know exactly what order. Will they all play in the first and second inning, or will they sort of spread it out a bit? But trying to get the players used to a level of intensity that maybe typical Twin spring training hasn't had, Dan. So I think that'll be fun. I'm going to be at the game, so I'm going to enjoy. I want to see Buxton and Correa and Royce Lewis.
Yeah, usually in the past, you sort of ease a lot of the regulars into game action.
Right.
But yeah, there's a different level of intentionality about this training camp as opposed to previous ones under Rocco. And it's been noticeable in a lot of different ways in several different people that we've talked to. And this is just yet another example of it. The fact that, right out of the gate, the big guns are going to be in the lineup. So it'll be fun for fans to see tomorrow for sure.
It is time for the DeRush Hour news headlines, and we get started with the lead. Our lead story this hour is Target. Twin Cities-based Target is being sued by the state of Florida. This is happening more and more often. Activist investors have often sued corporations over their diversity policies. It is somewhat new for states to take a business to court over diversity policies. So we are here in Florida. Florida, definitely a Republican state, and the Attorney General has sued Target over the diversity, equity, and inclusion practices. And the lawsuit is claiming that the company essentially lied to investors over the fact that these were risky things to do, which is a fascinating sort of legal argument. This is partially a lawsuit effort by the White House. It's a America First Legal, a conservative group launched by White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller, is also a plaintiff. But basically, the case is trying to argue that in 2023, when Target, for their Pride collection, had LGBT-themed merchandise, that some people found pushed the boundaries, that Target didn't warn investors. I mean, it's really sort of feels like a load of crap to me, doesn't it? Like, you're saying after the fact, like, hey, you should have warned about the risk of something that I don't think anyone thought was risky. Is it the government's business to be filing lawsuits against businesses like this? It makes me uncomfortable. If shareholders want to file lawsuits, go for it. Live it up.
Sometimes you just got to take the win, right? I mean, you've got conservatives have got companies canceling DEI programs left and right. Every other day, there's another story about a company that's getting rid of their DEI initiative. Target did that, and now you're going to sue them,
and it's still not enough
for ever having done it in the first place.
Because you have to take the win, and then you have to pound them into the ground.
I think that's
ridiculous.
A mistake, tactically speaking. And in addition,
take the win.
It's sort of a ridiculous legal precedent.
News today also that Target is paying a price for announcing that it was rolling back DEI initiatives. New data from an agency that does these sort of traffic indications where they measure like how many people are visiting the stores. It's kind of interesting stuff. This firm was actually able to pinpoint this data down to such detail that when Target announced on January 24th that it was rolling back some of these DEI efforts, that announcement was on a Friday. The following week, traffic in the stores went down 4% year after year. The next week, it was down 8.6%. And the next week, it was down 3.9%. First drop in foot traffic this year. Hard to believe that that was about anything other than people making a choice to not go to Target. At the same time, Costco found that its foot traffic was up. Costco had traffic up 5.8% on the first week, up 5.7% on the next, and another 4.6% on the following week. Not shocking, but evidence that these policies do have effects, both perhaps positively for appealing to what the administration wants and negatively to what some customers want. Time for the lead, story number 2. And that is a story that I first saw in Twin Cities Business, TCB. The senior editor for Twin Cities Business, Liz Fetter, joins us on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker hotline because she asked a question that I've been thinking about quite a bit post-COVID. Are CEOs walking away from civic leadership? Liz, thanks for being with us.
Well, Jason, it's good to be with you, and I like the Law and Order music as an intro for our conversation. Very, very nice.
I mean, this is a question that we're going to wrap up by the end of the episode, I think. So why not? Just like Law and Order, right? What do you think? Are CEOs sort of shirking what used to be thought of as part of their responsibility?
Well, I will give you the results of my reporting. So what happened was, Jason, if you think back to pre-pandemic and before the Twin Cities got the Super Bowl, you had 3 prominent CEOs who were asked to try and get the first Super Bowl possible in the Twin Cities. And so you had Richard Davis, who was CEO of U.S. Bank, Doug Baker, CEO of Ecolab, and Marilyn Carlson Nelson, CEO of Carlson Companies. And when they were named to go after that Super Bowl bid, they were not only well known in the business community, I think they were well known in the broader community.
That's right.
And so when you contrast their involvement in many, many different areas, and then you think of 2024, 2025, and how many stories have you read? How many stories have you personally done? How many discussions have you had about what can we do to revitalize downtown Minneapolis? And you think about who's really taking the lead on that effort. In years past, you may have had 1, 2, or 3 large company CEOs taking the lead on that, but you don't see that today. And in the past year or so, we had also heard from some news sources who were concerned that you don't see as much, so to speak, civic involvement in the broader community. And so I set out to answer that question. And there are people such as Bill George, former Medtronic CEO, Pat Ryan, who's the chairman of Ryan Companies, Russ Nelson, recently retired president of NTH Commercial Real Estate. They would argue that there has been a decline in CEO involvement, whether it's raising money for a particular effort, whether it's going public to advocate for public or private funding for early childhood education.
Well, Liz, this isn't even controversial. There's no question that there is less of that. I guess the question is whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, or are we hanging on to an old way of expecting sort of the old boys club to kind of step up and guide us to the right way of getting things done? I think there's no question that the involvement has declined. Don't you think?
I would say that the people that I named, they would definitely say it's a bad thing. Then you have another group of people like Lynn Casey, the former chair of Padilla, Tim Welsh, who was with McKinsey and U.S. Bank, and R.T. Ryback, the longtime mayor. They would both say that currently you have people below the CEO level who are involved.
Yeah,
that's
fair, but it's different. It's different, you know?
Yeah. And I was going to say some of the other arguments that they were making were that you have organizations like Greater MSP, and so they were saying there's stuff going on that maybe isn't as public. And so Tim Wells, for instance, talked about CEOs getting together with the MedTech Coalition, Sustainable Aviation Fuel, and there's another group called MBOLD, which is looking at solutions for global food. However, I think, Jason, we should talk about the fact that without question, there are more obstacles to civic engagement by these CEOs. And so some of the things that have changed, and something that Pat Ryan was not shy about calling out, he basically said the left-wing Minneapolis City Council, if you're going to have a public-private partnership, public entity needs to want to partner with business.
Yes.
And so he was very critical of what's occurring there. And there were other people who echoed that, because if you have several people who feel that the capitalist system doesn't work, business is not somebody you want to be involved with, you basically then are forsaking some of the money that business might put into projects, but also some of the advocacy that they may do in terms of, as I said, these social and economic issues, because we're not simply talking about the success of businesses. And then the other thing, of course, that's occurred is in the current environment, you were just talking about Target as the lead-in. So some people think, hey, it was great. Target was out front on DEI. I'm going to support them with my money. Then when they do the walk back, then people are saying, hey, I'm going to boycott them. And then others are going to say, well, why in the world did they do this in the first place? State of Florida is going to sue them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the stakes are much higher, I think, today than they were 20 years ago being involved. But also, like, as someone, you know, I know you're downtown all the time. I'm downtown every day. Like, I sort of feel like we were abandoned by the CEO of Target, which is fine. Like, he can live in Florida or wherever he wants to live, and the company can work remotely. And that's fine, I guess. It's just understanding that these companies are companies. They're not so much civic leaders. It's sort of, for me, it's just been a recalibration of like what column I put them in.
Well, and you definitely do lose something if the CEOs are not physically in the community. Clearly, all of them do a fair amount of travel, but as a result of reporting this story, I came across at least 4 examples, if not 5, of large company CEOs who live in the community part-time, and I ended up not naming them because if I had named them, I then would have had to run X number of paragraphs from each of the companies from public relations saying, here's how much they are involved.
Yeah.
And so
it's just different though. It is different. It's different from when you had CEOs who lived here. And I do think the corporate point is fair that the city council, I mean, some of them personally feel this way. And I think all of them worry they'll get punished by some of their most activist voters if they're seen as kissing up to business. It's a bit of an impasse. It's difficult to know how we move past this.
Well, and I do think, again, it depends on how many people show up to vote and what they're voting on, because a couple of people I interviewed basically said that cities really, it's dangerous if a city takes their businesses for granted, because they can obviously move to other cities if you're one of the core cities. And as a result of reporting this, somebody who is involved, and this would not be on the Minneapolis side, it would be on the St. Paul side. So Doug Baker, he was a 16-year CEO at Ecolab, and he was very, very involved in many activities. And his successor, Christoph Beck, is very involved, and both with the St. Paul Downtown Alliance, where they are dealing with issues of public safety, the commercial real estate issue, and homelessness. And then Christoph is also involved on issues on a national and international level, but he's also chairing Greater MSP, and he does believe it's part of his responsibility to be a good corporate citizen.
Yeah.
And I think he's less concerned about somebody criticizing his involvement. But I think if you have advisors who are saying, well, don't get out front and let's make a financial contribution to a food shelf and then move on with life. And so if that's the extent of it, then there is a huge, huge loss. But as I said, in the case of RT, his argument is he wants CEOs involved, but he knows that not all of them are going to be involved. So what you need to do, to use his conceptual term, is have a larger SIP table, and you have more players who are involved.
Yeah, some of those kind of high level but lower level type folks. Liz Fetter, I appreciate it. Go read the piece. It's at tcbmag.com, and it was reprinted this week in MinPost as well. Really thought-provoking, I think. Thanks, Liz.
I've got one question for you, Chief.
All right, hit me.
I saw you and Dan Cook in terms of the video coming out of Fort Myers, and I thought, why do these guys still have winter beards when they are down in Fort Myers, or are they 12-month beards? Otherwise, you guys should be clean shaven down in Florida.
You know what? You're not wrong. Where were you at the beginning of the week? I've wanted to shave just for the stunt of it, just for the drama. Get the social media going. Dan Cook.
Zero chance I'm shaving. It hides the double chin. So
Okay.
no chance.
Very good.
That was my immediate question when I saw it.
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
Well, it was great being on, and thank you for fostering the conversation on this topic.
Very good. Really good piece. I appreciate it. Liz Fetter, thanks for being
Take
with
care.
us. We will break. We'll continue with the DeRush Hour news headlines. Page 2 coming your way in just a minute. Live from Florida. One more half hour here on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha, live from Twins Spring Training. Presented by the islands and beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel and the Luminary Hotel and Company and sunny Fort Myers.
Hey, Dan, I have a question for you. Right now. Can you answer me?
I can sure try.
Do I have a sunburn?
No, you do not.
Yes. I've been out in the sun. Today I went and laid down on a bench and soaked up the sun. Why do you think I don't have a sunscreen? Or I've just ruined it. My God. This is, you know what?
Why don't we edit this out and then we'll do it again?
This is why we do these commercials live, because it's like an extra level of quality. Oh my gosh. First, it took like 10 minutes for Cook to turn the microphone on, and then I can't even tell my joke right. The good news for me is that Tureen Dermatology is still paying for this ad. The good news for you is that if you go to Tureen, Tareen, dermatology.com and make an appointment and go get that full body skin checkup, or go take care of eczema or acne, maybe a teenager's got acne, don't make them suffer with it. But what I ask of you is to not tell them how terrible this particular ad was. Was it my best work? No. Am I wearing sunscreen? Yes. Do I love Dr. Mohiba Tureen? I do. Go make that appointment today. 7 locations. Go visit TureenDermatology.com.
At the University of Minnesota, our goal is to make sure what happens in Minnesota doesn't stay in Minnesota, because the discoveries we're making have implications for the health of the world. From the cancer-detecting AI model we built in Rochester, to how we're redefining mental health in Morris, to breakthroughs we're making in Crookston, Duluth, and the Twin Cities. Our discoveries start here, but they make the world healthier everywhere. The University of Minnesota, driven to discover.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. No title, no problem. Call 877-CARS-FOR-KIDS or go online at carsforkids.org to donate today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
Celebrate twice as much with NordVPN's birthday deal. Get 72% off and a coupon for up to 1 year free. Visit NordVPN and discover the benefits. Secure up to 10 devices with a single account. Encrypt your online traffic. Reduce the risk of phishing, scams, and malware with NordVPN's Threat Protection Pro. Get the special birthday deal at nordvpn.com. Additional terms apply. NordVPN.
Drive Time with DeRusha is live from Twins Spring Training, presented by the Islands and Beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel and the Luminary Hotel and Company in sunny Fort Myers.
DeRusH Hour News headlines. It is time for page 2. And if your company is not sharing profits with you, maybe it's time to ask why not.
Show me the money!
Minnesota Star Tribune reporting on an increase in the number of companies with profit-sharing programs. They tell the story of KLN Family Brands 4 times a year. The managers go shake hands with employees and give them a check. $27 million in profit sharing over the last 5 years. It's people making Nutrisource pet food or, oh, it's so delicious. Have you had that Wiley Wallaby licorice? That like little, it's like the Australian licorice. It's so like, it's super tender. Oh, it's delicious. Why they make Australian licorice in Perham? I don't know, but they do a hell of a job. I'm telling you that much. This family-owned company handed out last year $7.5 million to about 600 employees. So among all U.S. businesses, 8% offer profit sharing, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. But a decade ago, it was only 5%. Quick Trip has long paid 40% of its pre-tax profits. Delta last week distributed $1.4 billion of its profits to employees. You know, the window makers, Marvin and Anderson, they tout their profit sharing as well. You guys really want to learn how to grow your own weed.
You put your weed in there.
That's exactly how it goes. It's a little harder than that, though. And our friends at Bachman's, they teach you how to grow all sorts of stuff. So why not teach people how to cultivate cannabis at home? The first workshop scheduled for tomorrow sold out remarkably fast for people who are interested in lighting up some cannabis. The response time faster than advertised. The next workshop is March 8th. That is sold out as well. Horticulture expert Emily Kowalski is leading the classes. Minneapolis-St. Paul Business Journal reporting. They reached out to Bachman's, and you can imagine Bachman's was super eager to get into the nitty-gritty on this topic. And they just said, with the legalization, Bachman's is dedicated to continuing to be an educational leader in the gardening community. It's pretty good. I mean, it's better than
hey, we want to make a bunch of money.
Well, I don't know. How much are you making selling, having workshops?
I mean,
can't be that much.
If you're selling them out.
I guess. I think it's great. It's legal
for them.
Where else are you going to go to learn how to grow stuff? Go to Bachman.
Makes sense.
They don't sell cannabis plants or seeds, but they do have the home grow stuff that you would use if perhaps you're going to cultivate tomatoes. So there you go. Bachman started at a Minneapolis vegetable farm in 1885, and I will guarantee you those Bachmans in 1885 were probably cultivating cannabis too.
Absolutely, they were.
It's a different time. Did you know that Stanley doesn't make those Stanley mugs?
What's up, Stanley? Well, you then, punk.
Not that Stanley either. He also uninvolved with the mugs. Fortune reporting, because there's a lawsuit about this. So you got Stanley Black & Decker. Stanley Black & Decker, right? That's your tool maker. That's who I thought made. I didn't know this was true. That's who I thought made the mugs. It turns out it's Pacific Market International, PMI, that makes these things. And the reason there's a lawsuit is because, remember, last year they recalled 2.6 million Stanley Cups. And then Stanley Black & Decker is like, hey, wait a minute. We didn't screw this up. You guys are making us look bad. Stanley Black & Decker. Basically, they want to take PMI. They want to take the name. Now, is this really because of the way the name is being misused according to the contract? And they did sign an agreement in 2012 that was allowing PMI to use the name on insulated containers adapted to keep their contents hot or cold. But is this really because Stanley mugs make a boatload of money? And the Black & Decker, the Dustbuster people want to get in on that action. Who knows? 5:33. We are live in Fort Myers, Florida. And next, we are going to talk about an innovative and a first-of-its-kind effort in a Grapefruit League spring training ballpark. The Minnesota Twins doing something really special for kids on the autism spectrum or anyone who gets overwhelmed by noise, by stimulus. It is a sensory room at this ballpark. We'll talk about it coming up.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha, live from Twins Spring Training, presented by the Islands and Beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel, and the Luminary Hotel and Company in sunny Fort Myers.
Opa! Hey, who wants to go to Greece? I guarantee if you join me on this Colette vacation to Greece, every morning I will greet you with an Opa! That maybe is not going to move any people to go to WCCOradio.com/Greece. I actually think the website, that's WCCOradio.com/Greece. I think the website would be more effective if when you logged on, there was a greeting for me just yelling Opa, or like yelling, get your Euro, or, I don't know, Uzo, just a little bit of Greece. Come with me to Greece. We're going this fall. All the details at WCCOradio.com/Greece. It's a trip with Colette. Everything is taken care of. I love traveling with Colette. This will be Alyssa and my third trip with Colette and CCO radio listeners, and we've made some amazing friends. The experience is through the roof. They take care of everything. It is first class all the way. We're going to Athens. We're going to Mykonos. We're going to Santorini. All I need is you. Go to WCCOradio.com/Greece today to find out information and sign up to come with me in October to beautiful Greece.
Before the flowers bloom, ahead of the birds returning, what's our first real sign of spring? Twins baseball on the radio.
Griffin Jacks is strike three on a bender and locked him up. His new toy, now able to drop a curveball like that.
Spring training isn't just practice. It's where the roster takes shape.
Sharply to the left side, RBI single Austin Martin, and the Twins lead 2-0.
Championship seasons start in Fort Myers on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea.
We hear that a lot at Coit because over time your upholstery, tile, carpets, floors, air ducts, just about everything collects dirt. You just don't realize it until they're cleaned. Well, this week only, call 800-4COIT and get 40% off a Coit clean. That's 800-FORCOIT for 40% off all our cleaning services. Minimum charge applies. Discount doesn't apply to service charge, restoration, or commercial services. Restrictions apply. Call 800-4COIT for details.
Many listeners have asked me what CBD products I use, and I am so happy to be able to share them with you on the radio. Jordana Green here. I really want to destigmatize CBD and reveal compelling health benefits that I've experienced. I use Mini-Leaf. Check out minileaf.com, MINNELEAF.com. I use these products. I would not recommend them to you if I didn't. Mark has used them. We have both experienced the benefits from the Triple Diamond Pain Cream. Such relief. And also those sleep night gummies. The best night's sleep I have had in a while. No pharmaceuticals needed. Check out the true benefits of CBD. You can see they're 100% natural Mini-Leaf's products, and you can look at the studies on the website. Minileaf.com. MINNELEAF. Tell them Jordana sent you.
Mini-Leaf means quality. Taste happy at minileaf.com.
The home of Minnesota's best legal products.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guaranteed details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, HIMS can help. Through HIMS.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but HIMS can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Guys, looking pretty decent. Got some slowdowns out there, including crosstown eastbound Gleason, heading over to 35W, North 35 East. Some slowdowns making the round between Highway 62 and downtown St. Paul, eastbound 394. Get your speeds below the posted, making your way between Park Place Boulevard and downtown Minneapolis. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
In its centennial year, the DAV of Minnesota remains dedicated to helping thousands of veterans access the benefits they've earned. And you can make a difference. Volunteer to transport veterans, advocate for improved programs, or donate today at davmn.org.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
DAV of Minnesota brings us Chris Schaefer.
This weekend is going to feel fantastic. Our highs have been below average for almost 3 consecutive weeks. That should come to an end tomorrow. Partly cloudy with a high of 32, up to 40 on Sunday. We should have highs in the low 40s Monday and Tuesday. In fact, we should stay above average for the rest of February.
Right now in downtown Minneapolis, it is so much nicer than it's been earlier this week. It's 23 on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha, live from Twins Spring Training, presented by the Islands and Beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel, and the Luminary Hotel and Company in sunny Fort Myers.
We had a really special experience out here at the Lee Health Sports Complex earlier today. Jason DeRush along with Dan Cook here. Drive Time, our last 20 minutes. And this was a special experience. Target Field has always had something that I just think is so cool. They have a sensory room up on the suite level where anybody, no money, no extra charge. If you're at a Twins game, you have a child who's maybe on the autism spectrum, or maybe you as a grown-up are sensory overwhelmed, you can come on up and you get this kind of wonderful, welcoming environment. But Dan, here at the Lee Health Sports Complex, we've never had a space where people could maybe take a child or take themselves to get out of all of the noise and all of kind of the fun for most of us going to a baseball game. For some people, it can be, and sometimes it hits you like it can be very unsettling.
Yeah, I mean, parents of small children, all over the place can identify with kids having meltdowns and, being overwhelmed by large sporting events and large crowds and large noises. But for kids that are on the autism spectrum or have other sensory sensitivity, I mean, it can really send them into a spiral. And so you've seen professional sports franchises at the major league level and throughout all of sports, starting to develop these sensory rooms, places where families can take these kids so that they can calm down a little bit and have a much more positive experience and be part of professional sports.
So the Twins brought Lee County together. They brought Lee Health. They brought Golisano Children's Hospital and United Healthcare. And then Family Initiative, which is just a tremendous organization that works with neurotypical kids, lots of kids with autism. And it's a pretty cool effort. What was even more neat is that Minnesota Twins reliever Danny Coulombe was there to help cut the ribbon on this today. And Danny has a personal reason why this is important to him, as you'll hear Danny and I talk about. Danny, what's it mean to you personally to have this sensory room? We've got one at Target Field, and now to have one here at spring training is pretty cool.
It's awesome. For us, it's sometimes it can be difficult for families to have the ability to come to a game just because they need it's loud. There's a lot going on, there's a lot of commotion, and sometimes kids with autism just need a break. It's loud, so this is the perfect situation.
We all grew up, we could go to a game, we didn't have to think about it. And so I just think it's so thoughtful the way that there's this effort to say, this game belongs to everybody.
It does, and we want to give everybody the opportunity to come out and watch a game, and I think that Twins really matters to them, and this is just a great step forward.
I know this hits you personally too, right?
It does. Yes, I have a son, 6 years old, who is on the spectrum, and we just that's why this stuff is just so close to us, it's just so important.
Yeah, absolutely. We think I don't know, to me, it's sort of astonishing to look at these sort of operations. Here at spring training, you think, all right, some of these facilities are a little older, whatever. Right. To try to carve out the space and make it special, I don't know, it's pretty amazing.
It really is. I think they said this is the first spring training complex to have a sensory room. Like, what an awesome step forward, and hopefully it can, pioneer its way to, a lot of the other teams too.
Yeah, they were telling me already on Monday there was a little kid with Down syndrome who came to the facility and was sort of a little overwhelmed. Yeah. And they brought him in here, and they're playing with him, and he's having fun, and you think how great for that kid, but also for the parents, right? Like, what a load it takes off.
No doubt, it's a huge deal for the parents. It can just. Coming to games can be really stressful, and any way to make anybody, feel better and just enjoy the game more is just a great thing.
Nice of you to take some time out. You're busy down here at spring training. How's it going for you?
It's going great. I feel great and ready to go.
Your stuff is good?
Oh yeah, I had a good outing, my first outing. So we'll just keep going forward, get ready for the season.
The pitching staff is impressive this year, isn't it?
It's got to be one of the best pitching staff I've been a part of. The bullpen is just stacked. The starters are all really good. And I'm really excited to see what we can do.
Does it motivate you to step up your game too?
Oh, absolutely. Not
that you need it. You're a professional, right? I just said I'm Jason before I didn't tell you.
That is expected to win, and that's the goal this year, is to win a lot of games.
Pretty good stuff. Such a nice guy. 2 kids. Just a great dad. Proud of both of his kids. But hearing that personal story, Dan, I think it does bring it home. What a special situation this is. For parents who need this. And I've heard so many stories, and there's a great video if you want to see a tour of it on the WCCO radio Instagram. It's on my Instagram too. It shows you a little bit about the room, but this is, it's a commitment. It was a team. I think it was a team store before. So yes. They built a different team store so they could have this space. And it's cool.
And this isn't just, here's an empty room that you can take your kids to, and so they're out of the way or they're away from things. I mean, this thing was crafted. There, you could tell when we went through and toured the thing, just how much thought and time and energy and money, to be quite frank, went into this room to make it a great place for young kids who have those needs. And kudos to the Twins for doing it. It's really a cool room.
Really fun experience. So we wanted to share that with you, and you can find all the information. I think we put a story at WCCOradio.com as well.
I believe so, yes.
About that effort.
And as far as Danny Coulomb goes, he's going to be your left-hander out of the bullpen. He was here a couple of years ago. Fans may recognize that name.
That's right.
He spent
was he in Baltimore
last year plus. So he knows what a good team looks like. Obviously, Baltimore had a lot of success. So for him to talk about the pitching staff in those kinds of glowing terms, is something to pay attention to. He's basically your Caleb Thielbar replacement from last year. Caleb's moved on to the Cubs.
Yep.
So Danny's not just going to be a situational lefty, but he's going to get to pitch some high leverage innings for the Twins out of the bullpen, which, again, assuming everybody stays healthy, which is something you can never assume, should be a pretty darn good bullpen. So.
And this was a pretty recent deal, right? This one to sign him in.
This was, when we talked to Derek Falvey earlier in the week about late signings, which seems to be the Twins' modus operandi.
But it was February. It was this month.
Yeah. So he was one of 3 guys that they signed. Him and Ty France and Harrison Bader were these 3 signings kind of at the last minute right before camp opened. So he talked about looking at different offers. He had similar offers and picked the Twins specifically because he had such a positive experience the last time that he was here. So.
Isn't it funny when you're like, all right, this guy was a last minute pickup, and I was looking like, all right, how much cash does he get? $3 million.
Yeah.
You're like, well, we're kind of taking a flyer on this guy. He's 35. I hope he's pretty good. It might be about $3 million.
There's $3 million. It's $3 million.
I mean,
$3 million here, $3 million there.
It's
kind of like your salary. I mean,
yeah, very much.
Pretty similar.
Yeah, same deal happened. 5:47 live with one more segment coming your way from Twin Spring Trading. We'll be back in just a minute here on Drive Time.
Drive Time with DeRusha is live from Twins Spring Training, presented by the Islands and Beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel and the Luminary Hotel and Company in sunny Fort Myers.
Hey, it's Jason DeRusha here, and I want to take a minute to talk about insurance. I know what you're thinking. You're like, Jason, it's Friday. I don't want to think about insurance. The reality is none of us ever want to think about insurance. That's what the Canopy Group is there for. I am a proud customer of the Canopy Group. They have 16 different insurance companies that they represent. They have 40 professionals working for them. And so instead of wasting your time calling around trying to compare some price, because everybody knows insurance prices are going up, go to the Canopy Group. They will do all the research for you. They'll check 16 different companies. You'll get connected with the one at the best price and the best coverage. And the beauty of the Canopy Group is they don't just do this once to try to get your business, and then you have to call them up and be like, any better deals out there, which is what I did for all of my life before I met the Canopy Group. They do it automatically every year. They run your specific zip code, your specific home and auto needs, and they run it through those 16 companies again to make sure you're getting the best deal at the best coverage. Go to thecanopygroup.com or make the call, 800-967-3389. Get a quote and visit my insurance company. It's the Canopy Group.
Bombas makes the most comfortable socks, underwear, and T-shirts.
Warning, Bombas are so absurdly comfortable you may throw out all your other clothes.
Sorry, do we legally have to say that?
No, this is just how I talk, and I really love my Bombas.
They do feel that good. And they do good, too. One item purchased equals one item donated.
To feel good and do good, go to bombas.com/radio and use code radio for 20% off your first purchase. That's bombas.com/radio and use code radio at checkout.
Fabric Talk. Hello, my love. I am your living room carpet. I see everything. I feel everything. After a while, I smell like everything, including Sir Pickles, who you snuggle with while binging that dating show you can't stop watching. So, how about we freshen things up with Febreze Fabric Spray? Oh, and a big spray for my pals, couch and ottoman. Ah, yes, refreshing. Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Paid for by government. Now is the time to fill your vault with Morgan Silver Bars. Grab your piece of America's silver legacy with this special offer. These spectacular shining silver bars featuring a crisp image of the iconic Morgan Silver Dollar, a legendary coin that has captivated collectors for generations. Call now to secure 1-ounce silver bars minted in 99.9% pure silver and made in the USA. Don't miss out on this special deal. Regularly priced at $49.95, but for a limited time, only $39.95. Save $10 per silver bar. Limit of 25 bars per customer. The more you buy, the more you save. Up to $250 in savings and free shipping on every order. Plus, with qualifying orders, you'll receive a free Morgan Silver Dollar. That's a $59.95 value free. Call 1-800-386-7195 now to secure your 1-ounce Morgan Silver Bars for only $39.95. That's 1-800-386-7195.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Drive is quiet. Got a possible crash working though. 494 eastbound, make way towards Cedar Avenue. Get ready for the slowdowns coming in from Portland Avenue. Westbound run, that's a bit sluggish. 12th Avenue, heading out to Penn Avenue. If you're going to be traveling Highway 62 eastbound, that's heavy between Tracy and Cedar Avenue. Joey Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
It's not going to be like bone-tingling cold for the next, well, maybe we're done. I'm scared to say it, but we are near the end of February. Chris Schaefer's forecast has tonight with a low of 12, but tomorrow we're up to 32. Average is 31. Sunday, it's 40. Going to be in the 40s in Monday and Tuesday. The rest of February will be above the average of 31. Sounds good, right? And then it's March. It's not going to be 20 below in March, is it? I hope not. Right now in Brooklyn Park, it is 22. It is windy, though. Wind gusts up to 19 miles an hour. It feels like 10 on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha, live from Twins Spring Training. Presented by the Islands and Beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel and the Luminary Hotel and Company and sunny Fort Myers.
So we are in Fort Myers, Florida. We are really 20 minutes away from the Gulf of America. The sports writers covering the Twins, told me they went and cleansed themselves in the Gulf of America. You
Yeah.
and I did not take a dip in freedom, did we?
No, I didn't anyway.
No. Well, you can't. You don't know what
I
I'm
can't speak
up to.
for you. I don't know what you're
I
doing.
don't know. Tonight, should I go take a dip in the Gulf of America and be able to tell everyone that I'm more patriotic than they are?
I mean, you could. I think the Gulf of America might be a little chilly this evening, but that's up to you.
I mean, that's how much I love this country,
That
Dan.
is
I
true.
don't know.
Yeah, you are.
That's
You are a
my-
patriot at heart for sure.
So being here in Florida, I thought for sure there would be no paper straw nonsense, right? We're in Trump country.
Oh, were you wrong?
I have had so dang many paper straws this week. And look, I love the turtles. Don't get me wrong. But I would be willing to sacrifice somewhere between 2 and 50 turtles if I never had a damn paper straw for the rest of my life. You saw at lunch today how, like
you
I
were
was about
very
to
aggravated. You were very upset.
Like, I think generally I'm a pretty easygoing person. Like sometimes here for the radio, like you gotta
do what
juice
you gotta
up the
do.
anger a little bit.
For sure.
But in real life, how often do you see me like fully like I'm very frustrated?
I mean,
It's maybe like once a week.
I was going to say no more than once a week. Is
Yeah.
exactly what I was going to say. Yeah.
I think that's fair. I agree with that. But when that
paper straw,
I
did
just
it.
took
Boy,
that first sip of that paper straw. And we were talking, we may revisit this topic next week because that's how much I hate paper straws. And it did get us talking about sort of the gross childhood candy that we had.
Yes.
That you would have to,
because I brought up pixie sticks.
It's exactly it.
Yeah.
So like, who's the genius who's like, you know what's an enjoyable experience? Sucking sugar out of a paper thing that then turns into mush in your mouth.
Here's what we're going to do.
What if we delivered a Diet Coke that way? That seems fun.
Why not?
Just the worst. But like you got that. That's gross. I brought up a candy that you didn't remember. You don't know.
Oh, yeah. I'm not familiar with this one.
Lick-a-Maid.
Yeah.
Where it was like a chalky kind of a wand, little rectangular, like the size of 2 fingers put together. And you just dip it in the sugar, like in the pixie stick stuff. You lick the wand, dip it in. Dip it in. Can't say that. Did I just get bleeped by Josh?
I
You
hope
never
so.
know.
No, I'm kidding.
You dip it in, and then you're just essentially like mainlining sugar.
I'm
so gross.
40% sure you're making this up because I've never heard of this at all.
I'm not making it up. I am not making it up. Look it up. Lick-a-Maid. Look it up.
No, I'm not going to Google that. Thank you very
Well,
much.
don't Google what I said.
No, I'm not.
Paper straws, man. I don't know why they make me so mad. It's not like I'm a straw devotee. I have metal straws at home. Like I don't hate the environment. I just hate paper straws.
Paper straws, that's all.
Dan, we had a great week here.
This was fantastic. I mean, we don't take it for granted the fact that, obviously we picked the exact right week of the year to flee Minneapolis.
Yes.
But, WCCO sending us down here to cover spring training and talk to Twins, and the staff here, obviously, with the Twins and at the Lee Hill Sports Complex have been fantastic and taking great care of us. It's been so much fun to be down here this week, and can't wait to do it again next year.
Makes you excited for baseball, doesn't it? Makes you for the
Really
season to
does.
get going.
Yeah. Yep. And it's going to be going before you know it. First game, obviously, of spring training is tomorrow. You can hear that right here on WCCO Radio.
How about that?
And it's going to be fantastic.
I saw the radio voice of the Twins in
He's
the East
here.
Ferry Hall.
He is here, ready to go.
So good stuff. Make sure you join us tomorrow. I'll be at the game as well. Should I just bust into the booth and see if they'll?
I can't see why you wouldn't.
Why not? I mean, after the 5th or 6th inning, the radio broadcast, you're pretty much just joking around during spring training. We appreciate you. Thanks so much for hanging with us. You can revisit any of this show on our podcast, subscribe, and
thanks to Josh Wheeler back at the studio for taking good care of us this week as well. So
very nice. Josh did a great job.
Thank you.
He's getting paid. I don't know why you had to make such a big deal out of it, Cook.
You're right. He's a horrible individual, and he should be tossed off the nearest pier.
I mean, it's not a charity here, is it?
Heavens.
Sometimes, yes. Steve Thompson is next.
Imagine placing an investment or trade without fear. Knowing that big institutions have taken the same trade as you, pushing the price higher, which only they can do. You get to ride the wave of institutional demand. If not, your plan will protect you from the downside. This is how our students are taught to invest in trade. Right now, you can sign up for a free investing class where we'll outline our strategy for follow